When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, when you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, don't run to us. We don't give a shh. Well, yeah, we do. We are two bald guys and a microphone. We'll turn that frown upside down. We'll jumpstart your heart. If you've got a long week ahead, this is the right place to start. Two bald guys and a microphone. Two bald guys and a microphone. Two bald guys and a microphone.
Good morning and welcome back. Oh, wait a second. That's me. I'm back. Did I mention I was on a cruise last week?
Oh, here we go.
You're listening to WHIWLP 101.3 FM out of Harvard, Illinois. And thank you so much for tuning in. In studio with me, my partner, the ever fascinating
Deke Jones, good morning. Glad to be here. It's a beautiful day yesterday. The bald guys all got a little sunshine on their scalp yesterday doing yard work and playing out in the soccer fields. And, of course, immediately to your right, to your left, if you're on live, who we have there, Coach?
We've got Al Francis. Good morning, Al.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. I met Al totally by accident about 4 or 5 months ago.
Yes.
I stopped in to see my friend Michelle Diltz at the Holiday Inn in Gurnee, Illinois, and she was meeting with Al about a program he's got coming up in Gurnee, and the name of your group is?
We are the Wild Pigs.
Wild Pigs.
Not to be mistaken with the movie Wild Hogs.
Right.
It's not the same thing.
It's a totally different animal.
Totally different.
Totally different.
Wild Pigs, Chicago police officers who
sir.
ride Harley-Davidson motorcycles for great causes.
That's it. And, of course, all the way from Greenville, Texas.
Greenville, Texas.
We've got
Rancher Ron. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. How are things down in Texas?
You know, fantastic. We had beautiful weather. Grandkids came out riding motorcycles, lawnmowers. It's just wonderful to have them over, and a great weekend. Thank you.
That is beautiful. I'll tell you what, we have a great show today, just from the first look of it anyway. It looks like that first impression. It looks like a good show. We'll have to. We'll know after the 3 hours, right?
And what is our topic today, Kent?
Your first impression could be wrong. Your first impression could be wrong.
Sounds like a good time.
It does. And we've got, we're going to start out with the attitude of gratitude. We'll be rebooting some mental software in here inside the first hour as we roll into Rancher Ron, who finishes up the first hour. Right at the top of the hour, the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to have Coach's Cadence. We'll also be pausing for the cause. And then, we've forgotten a few weeks now is the riddle. Now, I had a riddle last week that nobody answered. So
What was it? Maybe I know it.
The riddle was there was a young boy. This is good for police officers too, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we had it out there because we totally stumped Colette and we put it out on Facebook because it was hilarious. But there's a young boy who was in a horrible accident. Was rushed to the emergency room. Being rushed into the emergency room, the doctor looked at the boy, said, "I can't operate on this boy. He's my son." However, the doctor was not the boy's father. How could that be?
She was the boy's mother.
That's right.
There you
That
go.
is correct. It literally took Colette probably 10 minutes, and my oldest daughter was filming. It was the funniest thing. It was fun.
I'll tell you what, it's so early in the morning, I probably wouldn't have got it.
Well, whatever suits you.
Hey, how are you? There it is.
And now we go. We got started on
We're off
on B jokes.
That's right. Then we're going to get into learning a little bit about Al, what he does, who he is, his story, which is great, and the Wild Pigs.
Hey, no, this is just wrong. Kent, are you looking at the chat?
No, I don't have that.
April Stewart just checked in and said, "I loved you first
Boom.
on the radio."
Boom.
Boom.
That is,
But
yeah, she wins.
she didn't say it. She gotta silence that. Otherwise.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. I thought I did have a silence.
But I said it. She only typed it. I loved you first on the radio.
I'm going to give that to her. Ron, what do the judges say on that?
I go with April on that.
I
I
think
think
April's
Tim
good.
is suffering from post cruise doldrums there.
That's right. That's right. It's not. What do you get when you fly? Right. It's
Air
jet
sickness?
lag.
Jet
Yeah.
lag.
Jet,
Jet
so
lag.
this is ship lag. He's got ship lag.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
ship lag and buffet lag.
That's
So, good morning, Brandon. My son is
it.
also checked in. So my family's watching. How about yours?
that's it. Mine are probably watching the inside of their eyelids still.
I don't see Michelle on there.
Oh, and
Shame
my
on you, Michelle.
and my daughter. That's a family affair right here.
Boy, they've missed you because I don't know. I don't even know if they listened last week.
Good morning, Don. Love you, baby.
And then and then we hit it. Isn't that interesting? At around 7:40, and then we kind of play around till the top of the hour at 8 o'clock, where we have Deke's health and fitness tips. And then we get back into learning more about Al, what he does, and who he is, until we roll around to Caught in the Act, cool stuff done by cool people. And I've got one that's amazing. I've got one this week is unbelievable. Cool people doing cool things. And then we wrap up, and at 9 o'clock, right behind us is Dave in the morning. So he's coming in right behind us, which is great. So we are out of here at the top of the hour, so Dave can roll in.
Can I give out a couple shout outs?
Sure, man.
Hey, Frank, the Sod Father Balestri, and Jeffrey Miner. Thanks for joining.
All right.
Beautiful.
Make sure they like the page.
Yeah, did you hear that, guys? Like the page.
You betcha.
And you know what?
These guys are a couple great guys.
And you know what? It's always fun to start your morning, your week off with two bald guys and a microphone. Brought to you by.
Brought to you by Northern Illinois Windows. Northern Illinois Windows taking the pain out of window cleaning. Bill Thomas and Northern Illinois Windows has been in business for over 25 years in the McHenry County area. The number one service for window cleaning, gutter cleaning, and many other services you may want to do around the house. So reach out to Northern Illinois Windows Services. I will post the phone number and their contact information on the page.
Absolutely good stuff. Great Mother's Day present as well. Get your windows done so Mom doesn't have to.
There we go.
Mother's Day is coming up already.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
So so my wife's Alice, her birthday is the 13th. So it either is the day before or right in Mother's Day. You know,
I'm right there too. Mine's the 15th.
is that right?
Yeah,
Nice.
sure
Well,
is. Sure is. We can celebrate together.
and let me say, you are not a good-looking mother.
Happy birthday.
No, I'm not.
I'm sure many people started out, you mother.
I'm a little hairy for a mother.
That's right. That's good. And so that comes up. She's turning birthday on Saturday, the 13th, which is fantastic.
Let's check his. How old will she be, Ken?
She's her birthday is on Saturday.
Good man.
That was very smooth. Wise man. You
I married a younger woman. How about that? Right. I won't say how many years.
There you go.
But yeah, absolutely. So it's just a great week. A lot of stuff going on. We hope that one of the best things that you can do for your mom this Mother's Day week is share this page with her too. Bald guys and a microphone. Make sure that she likes it and tunes in every Monday. Now, if you don't listen to us every Monday morning live, you know what? You can go to our Facebook archive page and you can actually catch every show that we've ever done there. And you look up by topics, dates, whatever you want to do, but absolutely the best. Which is nice. So, you know what? It's time to be grateful, Coach. I imagine coming off of a cruise.
I'm having a hard time
So
having
jealous.
anything to be grateful for. We start out on the trip. We got down. Sean Roby, former athlete of mine, good friend, volunteered to take us to the airport and back. And we got down, and we got there in plenty of time. We unloaded. We had gate B9, which you only had to walk like 100 yards from security to get to the gate. And we sat down, and they said, okay, seating for first class and active duty military. But there are no active duty military. I said, how would you like a retired military guy to come up? I said, sure. I said, can I bring my whole crew? So all five of us got to be the first ones on the plane.
Oh, that's terrific.
So that started the trip out.
It wasn't United, was it?
It was United. Yes, I had a great experience.
We're going to need these seats, sir.
both ways.
I think they've got a lot of making up to do for
Yeah, you ain't
some
kidding.
things.
They we were first on the flight there, first on the flight back. They treated us like royalty from right out of the gate. So we had just an absolutely wonderful start. The wedding was beautiful. The cruise ship lady who was organizing the wedding, as I had the groomsmen and the brides up there with me, ready to go. And last minute she comes up and she goes, "Could we get the bridesmaids and the groomsmen to switch sides?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "What, do you think you're in charge of this wedding?" I said, "Yes, I am, actually. Just walk away." And she looked at me like, no one's ever done that before.
That's it.
So I always put the groom on my right and the bride on my left. I've always done that for my weddings because when the audience is looking out, the bride is always right. But as we're looking out, the groom is always right. So, it's a subtle joke that I keep with the new husband is, this is the only day you'll be right.
Yeah,
So
they took out Obey for a reason.
That's right. That's right.
and then the oh my gosh, death by food. The food was just amazing on the cruise, and they do such a good job. Peter, our waiter for the entire time, just absolutely took care of us over the top. So just
Which cruise line did you use?
we were on Carnival,
Oh, great.
where you may have noticed I'm the entertainment VIP.
I believe that.
The very first, we walk in and we're in the welcoming group, and they wanted a husband and a wife, a couple, to come up on stage, and people are jumping up and being crazy, and I just kind of nonchalantly raised my hand, and he looked over at me and said, "You." And it brings this other guy and his wife up, and it just happened to be two
Bald guys and a microphone.
That'll never get old for me.
No.
I'm going to giggle every time you
So
guys say that.
we had this little contest, right? To take these little Velcro balls and toss them over a black wall, and my wife had to catch them. They put a jumpsuit on her with Velcro in just certain places on her body to catch the Velcro balls with. And we didn't win by the number of balls she caught, but they gave us both the same prize. We got VIP seating, so we had front row seating for every show for the entire cruise.
Nothing
Oh,
wrong
that's
with that.
terrific.
Wow.
So it was fun. And then later on, they had a love and marriage show, and April's like, "We're not going on this one." I'm like, "Okay." So we sat in the balcony, and so they asked the question, "Who's been married here the longest?" I was just being honest. I just answered, 42 years, and we were the longest married couple, so we were back on stage again
Oh,
for the
that's
love and
terrific.
marriage show. And
To which April responded,
We need to have a serious talk.
the guy who called her down said his wife just went, "Ah." But it was a lot of fun.
"Yes, sir, Ron."
April was thinking about whether or not there was going to be a 43rd year right at that.
There you go. Probably a moment that she reminded me that
Can Tim
that-
swim?
But then later on, one of the most fun parts, right at the end, the last show, Frank and Christina Hostica got on that show, and so they were on stage, and Frank did the YMCA. He was the construction guy,
Yeah.
and he did
Frankie.
the Y&M were just perfect.
See, yeah.
The CNA he struggled with a little bit.
CNA.
But it was good, hanging out with Frank and Christina. We seriously went through withdrawals. We're still texting each other all day on Saturday and Sunday. And the bee jokes. What do you call a bee who won't stop eating?
What do you call a bee that won't stop eating?
Chub bee. So it was a beautiful trip. We didn't want to leave. It was just it was amazing. So I'm grateful to be home and around my friends and driving in and getting life back on track.
So, folks, as we talk about rebooting your mental software, Coach is from the era where you would sit in front of a big screen and Dad would click the clicker and look at slides. That was the mental slideshow right there.
I just remember being a remote control from Father.
Oh yeah, hey, get up. We need change to U30.
Right, exactly.
That's
Well,
it.
Tim, did you explain to the role of the father of the bride?
I
Basically, keep his mouth shut and his checkbook open.
That's right.
I like that.
Hey, that worked well. Frank's not, he spends money on the things he loves, barbershop quartets, things like that. It is wonderful. So, Ron, what are you grateful for this past week?
I'm grateful for people who invest in other people's lives. People that take time out to sit down with you when things are going right or things are going wrong.
Yeah.
And be honest and give you the perspective that you need for that moment.
Nice.
So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is something to be grateful for. How about you, Al? Anything grateful for?
I'm grateful for being here on this earth.
Hey.
Grateful for my girlfriend, Michelle. And I'm grateful to be a Chicago police officer and serve the city of Chicago.
Oh, how many years?
17 years now.
Wow.
Chicago. Yeah.
Wow. What beat do you got?
I'm.
They call it a beat still?
They do.
All right.
We do call it beats out there. I'm lucky. I'm in a section called the detail section, so I get to
Clean all those
Cars.
yeah. We clean cars. No, what we do is we sit outside of all the stadium events.
Oh.
Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks,
tough.
Cubs, Sox.
Oh, well, actually,
know.
you should probably got some good stories, I can imagine.
Oh, there's some few. There's
Oh,
a few.
yeah. All the tailgating and when Packer fans come to town. And, well, we won't. We're said grateful. We're being grateful this morning. That's it. I'll tell you what, I am grateful for, this time of year is great, and that's what I'm grateful for. You have proms, you have first communions, confirmations, so many things going on in the spring. It's just really, really cool and a blessing to be part of a lot of that, and to live life through a lot of these young people's eyes is, prom is a big deal for these kids. And
it sure is.
Yeah, for the girls. They're getting those dresses and all the pictures and how happy everybody is, and then the confirmations and first communions, all those pictures and people sharing posts and just being invited to some of those parties and being able to celebrate with families is this time of year is just really, really cool to me. And I'm grateful that I've got a lot of friends who have young kids and enjoy family. So my gratitude is huge on that aspect, which is great. And you know what else? That I'm grateful
It's time
for.
to reboot your mental software with two
bald guys and a microphone. The R in reboot is
Recognize that you need to reboot. The E
is energy. Unplug from that energy, unplug from that phone, reflect on what you need to do, and then plug back in with a new drive. The B,
believe that what you're doing makes sense and is going to move you into the direction that you need. The first O
is operating system. How many of us are operating 2017 technology with a 1955 operating system? Let's upgrade today. The second O is
orchestrate. You are the conductor. You need to orchestrate the change and keep your back to all the naysayers. The T
is test. Know that it's working. Test your numbers and adjust as necessary. You are getting ready to reboot your mental software with two bald guys and a microphone. Somebody starts saying that, even if it's recorded, I gotta. I'll hear the word two, and it'll be like bald guys and a microphone.
Exactly. Everywhere. So, we are right now going to reboot that mental software, and we're talking about how your first impression could be wrong. Right? They always say you can't judge a book by its cover. You can if it's a Playboy.
Wow.
Is that right?
Well, there's something to be said for that, I guess.
This is a clean family show.
Yeah, that's right.
It is.
That's right.
Sure, she showered before she got on that.
Absolutely. We've got Al Francis in with us. Al, you're from Wild Pigs. If people want to know more about you and Wild Pigs, can they find you guys someplace or?
Well, we don't have a national page, believe it or not, webpage, but
Facebook?
You go on Facebook, you can look up Wild Pigs, we're on there. Go to my page. I'm talking about the club all the time. We're nationwide. We have 22 chapters throughout the United States, so yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. That's really pretty cool. And it's a great club. Did you call it a club?
It is. We are a motorcycle club. We're a law enforcement motorcycle club, and you have to be either a retired or active police officer to be in it. So
does military police count?
No, believe it or not, military police does not count because they're temporary. Unfortunately,
they're not really. They're whatever. Yeah, they're on the base.
God bless our military. I was a vet of 7 years. We love them, but they're only temporary police officers, so they could probably join up while they are a military police officer,
Right.
once they give up the badge, they'd have to give up the club.
Well,
There it is. There it is.
so what are you grateful for, Coach? But yeah, so as we were kind of talking about it, if you take a look on Facebook, we've got this big Harley rider in here, and if you were to see him with his cut on and looking like a Harley rider, you may step to the other aisle there in Jewel Osco, and that's what we really want to talk about is people's first impressions. Whether you meet someone at a party, you go out on a first date, or become acquainted with your new boss, first impressions are a guiding point in getting a quote unquote feel for what a person is all about. But sometimes that first impression can speak more truth than the person's action, more than their words. Yet the majority of the time, our first impressions aren't always accurate. Okay, let me tell you a quick little story, Coach. I was a young guy working at the Walmart in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, and in walked this girl in sweatpants and kind of a winter coat with her hair not done, and she came in to see a fellow worker. And this fellow worker happened to be talking about this particular gal for a while. And when this particular gal came in, she did not look like everything that he had painted that picture to be. And I was like, "Hey, hi, how y'all doing?" And she left, and after talking with her buddy, and I looked at him and I go, "Seriously, bud, what do you see? You might want to run after something else." And then about 3 days later, that same somebody came in for an interview and was dressed a little bit differently. And next month, I'll have been married to her for 25 years.
Oh, God bless. That's terrific.
So you can't, right? That first impression, praise the Lord that I didn't pass judgment. Too bad. But now keep in mind.
Obviously, she got past the first impression.
Hey, I was just going to say that. I mean, I look good, right? I was wearing my Walmart vest and a garden center hat. I was all of 20 years old, trying to grow a beard, and I looked handsome, I thought.
Legend in your own mind.
That's right. Had the earrings and the mullet, and oh my God.
Oh, really?
Oh, man.
Earrings and a mullet.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. I thought I looked good.
So when did you become follically challenged?
Yeah. 1998 was when we lost it all. So it's good. But yeah, so your first impression, right, is the majority of the time is wrong. And thank God for some of that, right? And as we talk about recognizing the need to not judge on that first impression, Coach, how do you get around that?
Well, that's a difficult thing to do. I mean, you talk about it not being right, but yet 90% of all relationships are founded on first impression.
Yeah.
And as I throw statistics out there, remember 94% of all statistics are made up on the spot. But most relationships are founded on the first impression.
Yeah,
what someone looks like, what they sound like, what they do. And when we can just, close, I think you said it a couple of weeks ago, sometimes you just need to put a paper sack over your head and look in the mirror so you can actually see everything else that's going on.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, my first impression of Coach was he's a good-looking man.
I was quite attracted.
Yeah. Bald,
myself.
looks good. I think I was right. I think we're right there. That's good. But Ron, there's so many people out there who say, you know what, I know I can read people well. I got that gut feeling. I just know my first impression is right, but a lot of times it's wrong.
Well, the problem is we focus on the exterior for first impressions.
Yeah.
The image that people want to project for a variety of reasons. And it's not necessarily who they are on the inside. I have a friend, Sylvia DeGusto, out of New York. She's an image consultant. And she says most people make a decision about you in 7 seconds. And it's based on what you project. And unfortunately, that's true. because and we'll get into it a little bit later under the Rancher On segment about how many times we're wrong about who those people are, what they are, and why they project the images they project.
Well, and in your line of work, Al, right?
I was going to bring that up.
I mean, come on.
That's a good segue. I mean, I've run across a lot of different people in my career. 17 years with Chicago and a couple of years with the military police.
Yeah.
And,
But that doesn't count.
Also as a correctional
it's only
officer,
part-time.
and you run into a lot of different people, and sometimes your first impression is completely wrong.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole show founded on that, Undercover Boss, where the
Yeah, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, great
you
show.
know, the boss dresses down and goes in and goes to work and finds out he can't do half of what he's paying these people
Right,
to do.
right, and that's a great show because it gives these business owners a reality check on what their
Right.
people do.
Well, and what the first impression of their customers is.
Oh, absolutely.
He's
yes.
out there learning, firsthand. Well, just come back to the carnival. When we walked into the cruise area, we got to board early because we were part of the wedding party, and we went in, and they brought us into this room, and right away everything is you're just wined and dined from the very second you walked in.
Yeah.
So I mean, first impressions they're important, but they're not everything.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, and as the E part of that reboot, is energy, and how many times in our professional career, you only have one chance to make a first impression.
That's right.
Quote unquote, we hear all these gurus and everybody say that, but if what did you say? 90% of the time it's wrong, Coach, or 43%, whatever. I'm not.
It's big.
Yeah, so I mean, how important is that first impression then? I mean, I've interviewed a lot of people, Coach. You have too, Ron. I'm sure you have too in your professional career before on the ranch. But when they walk in, they look good, they smell good, their hair's in place, their shoes are shined. How do you tell at that point? And how do you? This goes to any of the three of you. Is how do you pull back and unplug to say, let me get to know this person before I pass judgment?
Well, you have to. I mean, if you have a gilded cage, it's not always good. It could be rusty.
Right. Oh, I like that. That's good. You write that down? Somebody record that? That was good. Coach, you too. I mean, you do a lot of professional coaching outside of the sports world in business. And, how do you there's always that first impression of their business as you're helping them with their business. So how do you overcome, understanding that, hey, my first impression could be wrong?
Well, the first impression, as I talk about with all my clients, dress for who you are. If you're an auto mechanic, don't go to an appointment in a tuxedo.
Right.
If you're a speaker or a coach or a financial professional, dress the way you expect people to recognize you. But most importantly is the substance has got to be in the follow-up.
Yep.
First impression is great, but it only hangs on if you will follow up and, stand behind what you do. When you and I first met, we clicked right away.
Yes, we did.
And I said, well, if you're looking for a speaker for your party, let me know. And that was, 6, 7, 8 months ago. We shared contact information. And I knew the date was coming up, and we had some cruises, and we got some vacations and other things that I needed to follow up. So I reached out and said, "Hey, you still planning on having us?" When we first met, it was me.
Right.
So it was before the show was even together. So that had to have been in the summer.
Yes,
and
it
now
was.
it's we, and that is only going to make the show stronger. But that first impression is what has carried us forward to getting to do business together.
And we are two bald guys and a microphone. And the other thing, I mean, we always see that on Facebook, right? You never know what battle somebody's going through or what they're
absolutely.
fighting,
Yeah.
right? And I think, we have to understand the emotional state. How many times, Ron, have you been at the supermarket where, there is a mom and two kids and the kids are going crazy and instead of saying, well, those kids are being kids, you're like, wow, that mother needs to get a grip,
No, all the time. We're constantly judging people.
Yeah.
We're judging their actions, their looks, the way they walk, the car they drive, the suits they're wearing. And that's not a great way to judge people. The other thing is that Tim mentioned about professional speaking. Are you the same person off stage that you are on stage? Because when we look at the people that we admire the most, there's a consistency in their life.
Yeah.
You know who they are. Because their first impression is also the last impression you have of them.
Oh,
Where you get into trouble is where people know how to give a really great first impression, and that's the deepest.
right.
Nope. I think we lost it.
He might have coughed there, which is good. He bopped himself out. You know, and the other thing that I always kind of, as I talk about unplugging and moving that energy, is, Sam Walton. I always go back to Sam Walton. Drove a 1973 pickup truck, showed up in his overalls, was a total Midwestern guy, didn't flaunt his money, and a lot of times people didn't know who he was, until he signed a check or whatever. They're like, "Oh my gosh, that's Sam Walton."
I tell you what, that reminds me of a guy, a car dealer that I knew back when I was in the Navy in Hanford, California. He said that there was a Ford dealership and a Dodge dealership across from each other, and a gentleman went in. He was dressed down, dirty, like he was out in the fields,
Yeah.
Farming. And he was looking to get a truck, and the Ford dealership chased him away. Went over to my buddy's Dodge dealership. Somebody went up to him, asked him how he was doing, asked him how they could help, and he bought a fleet of trucks.
Oof. Drove him right by.
Oh yeah, first impressions.
Oh boy, exactly. I mean, it happens. It happens all the time. Go ahead, Ron.
That Stanford University started because of that. The Stanfords, Linda and his wife went to Harvard. Their son went to Harvard and passed away while he was at school. And they were large farmers out in California. And they went into the president's office and said, "We'd like to see the president of the university." She said, "Well, I'm sorry, he's a very busy man. He had his overalls, she had her gingham dress on." And they said, "Well, we can wait." And they sat down, they waited until 5:30 in the afternoon. And the president came out and they said, "Oh, are you the president of the school?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, we'd like to talk about donating to the school because our son passed away." He says, "Come in." He sat down. He was very short with him and said, "Look, this is Harvard University. Do you know that it cost over $7 million for these buildings out here?" And Leland looked at his wife and said, "Did you hear that, honey?" He says, "What? Yeah, what's that?" "You can start a whole university for just $7 million. And they got in their car and they went back to California and started Stanford University
Look at that.
in honor of their son.
Wow, that's fantastic.
This came across a message here. It says, "When you look at a field of dandelions, you can either see 100 weeds or 1,000 wishes."
Or a nice salad.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Or a bottle of dandelion wine.
Hey, a little dandelion wine. How do we build in the be and believe, when we're talking about first impressions? I think we have to believe that you have to get to know somebody before you pass that judgment, right? I mean, the one thing too, Coach, is once we've made that that judgment, I guess, on that first impression, we rarely change our minds, right?
Well, it is. It's a difficult thing to do, and when we can get over that, Bobby Oxtoby, a good friend of mine, God rest his soul. Bobby was in an accident when he was younger, and it left one of his eyes kind of wandering off to the side, and he had long, stringy hair that looked like he didn't shower very often, looked like he could have been a homeless guy. And I was, during this period of time, I was in my military years, I was very strapped, high and tight.
Try right into that microphone. He's been on the cruise. He's fading away from the microphone.
And and Bobby and I were probably the best maintenance team in the entire plant. But when you took first impression that these were two people who should not even be together.
Wow.
we've got to get to know people. And when we understand that all people are generally good, and we give them the opportunity to be good, they will be good. But when we allow our first impression to judge them as evil or ugly or down, they will act and have a tendency to act the way that we judge them. And if we're just a little bit more careful in understanding that the people are good and you give them an opportunity, I'm sure you've run across this with, how many convicts. Who was the guy we had on? And I forgot his name now. Had the convicts doing construction work.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Several weeks ago, and I hope he's not listening.
Mental. That is called chemical brain
chemical
freeze.
brain
Yeah,
freeze.
we'll
I
find
see
out
it.
about it in a minute in the
That's
comment
right.
section.
But he takes these convicts who've had these very difficult lives, and he brings them out and he gets them employed. And he's done such a great job. Casual pits, same thing.
Yeah.
Looking beyond what people have done, of who society says they are, to help them become who they really are on the inside.
That's it. So, as we talk about first impressions in the operating system and rebooting that mental software, what I want to talk about is the law of attraction. Right? There's those vibes, those brain waves that go out that say you're going to attract, what you're thinking about, or, so if you're intending, as I'm looking at you, Al, if I'm intending you to be, like the guys on, Sons of Anarchy, because you ride a bike, got tattoos, got your cut, I'm gonna go, oh. And that's what you become to me. I'm not even going to approach you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So there's that law of attraction. We put out those vibes, and you're going to attract what you're looking for. So the question is how do we send out those good vibes to say that guy's a good guy?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Right.
But I do want to mention something since you said that is the biker community, for those who are not involved and do see these big bikers in their leather and on their Harleys and on their other bikes. They're some of the most generous people I've ever met in my life.
Always.
They are really, really terrific. The whole community really is.
I mean,
very giving.
But most people get their education from television.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Unfortunately.
So,
I was working at a Costco in the Dallas area when this old beat up cowboy come walking in, rough leather neck, and he's walking in. I wonder what the heck he's buying at Costco, and he walks in, and as he turned around, his leather vest on the back of it said Cowboy Church. And I said, well, that's interesting. I got to ask him about this Cowboy Church vest that he has on. And a few minutes later, I had the opportunity to run into him in the aisle. And I said, excuse me, could I ask you about your vest? He says, oh, yeah, we got cowboy churches all over Oklahoma and northern Texas. He said, I happen to be the pastor.
Oh, no kidding.
Nice.
Look at that.
They have these rodeo grounds, and the whole bunch of cowboys come together. They have a preacher gets out in the middle of the rodeo field and preaches for about an hour. Then a rodeo breaks out every Sunday.
God, I love those rodeos.
those are good, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
First impression was, I don't want to mess with this guy.
Right. And that reshaping that mental, that operating system is understanding that, we shouldn't be quick to snap judgment on somebody, but I'll tell you this, Ron, how many times walking down the street of Chicago or Dallas, there's a group of anybody, whether it's a minority, whether it's not a minority, and maybe their pants are a little bit saggy or whatever, and our blood pressure goes up a little bit, right? And we're like, oh boy, here it comes. How do we retrain our mental software for that?
Well, we have to get out of putting people into groups and start looking at people as individuals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing. We stereotype based on people that if they look this way, they must act this way, they must be this way. And each one of those people are an individual.
Yeah. And that's important. I mean, and folks, you got to understand that. I mean, to Coach's point, maybe it's a youth group that's helping out. Someplace. A lot of youth groups now will go to the inner city and do charity work and things of that nature. And you got to fit in, so you can get in. but there's still that piece. I mean, as a police officer, what do you tell people that oh my gosh?
I try to judge people on their actions.
Okay.
If I see a group like that, and if they're doing nothing wrong, then my judgment's fine. I don't have any problem with them. When they start acting up, that's when, we get that stereotype, but the stereotype comes from somewhere.
Right.
And usually it's the actions of that person.
Yeah.
Or that group.
And that's interesting. And I think that's a great point. Instead of taking a look at people, take a look at their actions. That's one of the best ways to reboot or, change that mental software is to say, okay, great, man, here's a group of, and I think about when I was a kid, right? You and your buddies are hanging out, you're riding bikes or whatever you're doing, going into the 7-Eleven, and you're being stupid and loud and buying Slurpees and dumb, and how many people probably looked at us and said, oh my gosh, here comes this.
Sure.
Ugh.
And don't be wrong, stereotypes do happen. We can't. I don't believe as human beings we can't help ourselves.
Right.
From stereotypes. It's just the way it is. I think as a police officer, stereotyping sometimes is a good thing. Because we have to always be on guard, on alert. So
Absolutely.
But you never know. You might have the guy in the suit pull a gun and start shooting people.
Right. It is crazy. And then, Coach, you have to orchestrate that change, right? So you have to put your team together. And as you're working with people, Coach, as you do in your coaching career, how do you help them through that? What kind of team do you put together to say, hey, maybe our first impressions aren't accurate?
Well, teach them to ask the right questions. When you first meet someone, if they're all dolled up and looking, like $1 million, get down to the nitty gritty. Who are you? What makes you tick? I don't care what you look like. I care about who you are. And when they start to realize that, it's amazing what you can find out about people. But you have to let them know that I care about you. I don't care about, I'm not saying you're ugly, you're pretty. I'm not saying your looks don't matter. They do. Take care of yourself. But when they begin to know that you want to know them more about the person they are than the persona that they're projecting, people will open up to you, and you can get through that first impression very quickly.
Well, Coach, when you do have a team, though, you try to get your team to act in a proper manner, and
That's right.
accordingly, and set that good impression for people. You don't want them throwing balls at windows or anything like that.
That's right. Yeah, right.
Be it fundraising or whatever it is, you do have to set a good impression.
Yeah.
Mike?
Well, the other side of that is that coaches have to be very careful of what they imprint their players with. How many times have you sat on a sideline and seen another coach yell, "You are the worst soccer player I have ever had on this team," and you have defined the role for that kid on your team. Yeah. And he will work very hard to live up to that role.
I saw that happen this weekend a couple of times. Anytime you go to tournaments, you get to witness some of the best coaches on the planet and some of the absolute idiots who, why are you coaching?
Some of the parents think they're the best coaches in the world.
Well, you better believe it.
Hey, big brother. My big brother just checked in. Mike Creechy says, good morning, all. The problem is the judgment itself. We shouldn't be judging anyone. And, we've all told this right from Sunday school. But we go back to, how do you stop judging? Because, we're right, stranger danger from a child. We're taught,
absolutely.
That person is a stranger, they must be bad.
Right. And I tell you what, my son, Anthony, was somebody that didn't believe in any strangers. He would go to anyone and scared us to death as parents.
Sure. What is he doing now?
Oh, he's a good kid. He works downtown at one of the hotels as a night auditor.
There you go.
Yeah, he's doing very well.
Nice. Now there is emerging research from the University of California, Berkeley, Coach, that suggests first impressions are effective for determining whether a stranger is genetically inclined to being trustworthy, kind, or compassionate. So maybe what we're doing with our first impression is not passing judgment, perhaps, but it is the vibrations, right? As I was saying, that law of attraction to can I trust you? Right? Now, Al, you and I just met a few minutes ago, but right off the bat, there was a warmness about you. You're a big dude, so I didn't make fun of you. And, but
I did. Watch the weight jokes.
But you know what I'm saying is that there's those vibrations where, hey, this guy is a good cat, right? And
thank you.
So I think that research is showing that maybe the first impressions are those vibrations. Can we trust each other?
Sure.
And that's a big.
Well, I think that falls on the individual too. I mean, if you're tight, if you're not going to shake somebody's hand, if you're not going to look somebody in the eye when you're speaking to them, those are all first impressions. But that's the vibe that somebody.
Well, how about that handshake when you reach out and somebody's like,
Oh yeah,
give you the dead fish handshake.
You got a limpy noodle for an arm.
That's right.
He's wiping his hands off.
Right.
Michelle Leroux said he's a big teddy bear. That's her first impression and lasting impression of you. That's your love of your life.
That is the love of my life. That is my lady.
go.
Hi, Michelle.
Yes, Ron.
Well, Kent, was that from that research was from the hippies at Berkeley?
That's right. The peace and love, right? But you know what? That it also goes on to say in that study that the experts believe that findings reinforce that healthy humans are wired to recognize strangers who may help them out in a tough situation. So if you go back to the cavemen, that time, you protected that cave, or you let the people in who could help you drag that dinosaur back to the cave to eat,
Right.
So it's very interesting that we're kind of wired that way to understand. And then you just have to keep testing it, and understand that with that law of attraction, those good vibrations that are going out there, that you're going to attract the right kind of people into your life. So
Took the words out of my
that's
mouth.
Thank goodness.
Well, that's where the phrase coming out and going clubbing together came from.
Wow.
We didn't mention Ron and his puns, did we?
That's right. There it
He's a
is.
punny guy.
And that came in at a really good time, Ron. Because what do I hear?
And now it is time for
Rancher Ron and his East Texas wisdom.
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is a life for me.
Hey, Rancher Ron feeding East Texas wisdom to a hungry herd of Americans. When we bought our ranch, we needed fences. Cross fences do 4 things on a ranch. First, they keep the right cattle in. Secondly, they keep the wrong cattle out. They keep cattle out of danger. And they allow the management of the grasses to grow where you're going to move them next, and allow the areas they are leaving to recover. All fences have 2 sides. One is to keep things that are outside out. The other is to hide what's inside and keep it inside. First impressions are a lot like fences. Let me tell you about Tie-Dye Bill. To look at Tie-Dye Bill, you'll see hair that's long and unkempt, a beard that's scraggly, clothing that's from the 60s, and an appearance that's designed to build a fence that shouts, "Stay away." When you first see Bill, you get that feeling when you approach the guy with the homeless sign in the median. Can I change lanes, avoid eye contact, and pray the light changes? For most people, first impressions are a strong fence to keep people out of Bill's life. My first response was to slide down the fence and sidestep to look for a gate I could scoot through and go around Bill. After being around barbed wire fences for a while, you learn how to avoid the barbs, pull the wires apart, and carefully slip through with a minimal amount of pain and damage into the danger area. After a long process, it's discovered that Bill is a very intelligent aerospace engineer. He has a family, a son that he's rebuilding a relationship with. He enjoyed concerts at the Bass Hall Performing Arts Center in Fort Worth. And Bill served in the Navy during the Vietnam War and witnessed traumatic things that still haunt him today. Today's guests are the wild pigs on hogs, police officers who don the apparel of leather jackets and patches and helmets, and sometimes it's hard to tell the good guys from the bad guys. We've been conditioned to think of that all bikers as bad guys. The tattoos, the attitude, the mob mentality, these are the fences that we've created. In some cases, it's true. Those first impressions and fences and gut feelings are there to protect us from danger. However, it's not always the case. I had the opportunity once to see the marketing manager of Harley-Davidson motorcycles give a presentation at a conference. It was interesting because he explained what we were witnessing. He showed us pictures of bikers who were nasty, scary-looking guys who were covered in tattoos. These were fences. He made it a point to speak to those guys at the rallies and found out they're actually crying out. The purpose of all of the tattooing and the patches and the jackets were saying, "Look at me." They want to belong. I mean, wouldn't you love to have a company or an individual tattooed their logo to your head? It's interesting. I started to notice other groups that I've built fences up of first impressions. Goth kids with the piercings and spiked hair sending the same message. Look at me. In the past, I used to walk down the sidewalk and look for a place to cross the street to avoid groups of kids like that. I had a perceived danger that wasn't real. Corporate execs who set up fences of first impression, of starched shirts, fancy shoes, $10,000 suits, and power ties, each creating a wall to either hide something or to keep people out. In many cases, I found it hides the fear of change, or the loss of their success, or the cost that letting new people in their lives may be too expensive. Also learned that my fences of first impression and judgments are designed to be hard on people. But what's really happening is I'm hard on them because I'm hard on myself. When we judge others harshly based upon our first impressions, it's because it may expose our own faults. So how do you get past the fences of first impressions? First, it starts with changing your attitude about first impressions. Ask yourself, are you focused on who they are or focused on yourself and your fences? Look past the outside, the spikes, the piercings, the tattoos, the suits, the cars, and focus on the inside. Look past the fence into the person's eyes. If you use the impressions to judge others and compare yourself, you'll never slip through the barbed wire fence without ripping the back of your own shirt. I built many fences in my life based on first impressions that were totally wrong. The people I admire most in this life get past using the fences of first impression, and they let the right people in. They keep the wrong people out. They keep away from danger, and most importantly, help others deal with their need to grow into the areas where they're going and recover from the areas where they've come from. This is Rancher Ron feeding East Texas wisdom to a hungry herd of Americans.
Beautiful. Good stuff, Ron. Good stuff. As always, which is good.
Don't you have fences to keep wild pigs out down there?
That's right.
I hear
You know, there are no fences to keep wild pigs out.
That's right. That's right. They're big. They come through. Those are hogs. Those aren't pigs. Though.
Yeah,
okay.
That's feral hogs.
Feral hogs.
Feral hogs.
That's right. Down there. It's a whole different group.
You do,
I
Rancher
guess-
Ron, you do have a big problem with those feral hogs down there, though, right?
Oh, they do $4 billion a year. You know, they have litters of 11 every 111 days.
Wow.
And 15 of them live.
Wait a minute. Let me do the math.
Yeah, that didn't quite add up.
That's Texas math right there.
I mean, they are evil.
Oh,
They tear up pastures so where you can't run a hay baler over them. They carry a disease called brucellosis.
yeah.
It causes cattle to abort. and their tusks on the boars are razor sharp, more than a machete.
Wow.
If one gets mad at you and comes after you, it's slice and dice time.
But their piglets are cute, right?
You know,
That's the
cute
first impression.
Is the first impression.
There you go. Until they grow up and ruin your crops.
That's it.
And only in Texas can you hunt hogs from the side of a helicopter with a 50 caliber machine gun.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was the pork chopper bill.
Yeah, look at Ted Nugent. He's does it all the time.
That's
down
right. That's right. Look at the smile that just came on the police officer's face.
Big gun. Hey,
You know, they're also the only animal you're allowed to hunt 24 hours a day with night vision.
Is that right?
Yep.
24 hours a day.
I gotta
24
move down to
hours.
Texas.
There you go. Well, at least come visit.
Absolutely.
If you ever get down to Texas, Ron's going to be up here. When are you coming up? Around the 20th of May?
Well, I'm coming up the 19th, and I'll be in the studio 19th, 20th, 22nd.
Oh, terrific.
So he's going to be up. We're going to be staying out at Michelle's Hotel and going through some of the intricacies of making two bald guys and a microphone a viable business. We are a year from now. Kent and I, we both want to be doing nothing else, but not two bald guys and a microphone, getting out and speaking, doing what we're going to do for you.
Right, sure.
Coming up on
Yeah.
June 24th, and
Yes.
maybe a couple other days. So we just want to make a difference, and the only way we can make a difference is by getting in front of more people.
That's it.
We're coming in to the top of the hour
Oh,
at
we've got
6:55.
Yeah, we've got 4 minutes. Yeah.
So let's talk about things that isn't that interesting.
Well, you know what? Isn't that interesting? Comes up quite a bit. And what did we say this morning that I said isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting? Oh, we had to wait for like 7 cars this morning to pull out of Casey's.
That's right. That's right. And
and
That's a traffic jam up here.
up here it is.
it was a rush minute.
Yeah. It is, and isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting?
Was that due to an overabundance of customers or just a slowdown in the production cycle?
Kent's take on it was we're in farm country and the sun's coming up.
That's right. So they got to get more stuff done before the sun comes up than we do all day, I think. So that's it's just interesting that sometimes just out of the blue there's 7 cars, which seems like a long wait, here in this big metropolis, which is something. But the other thing that I found interesting is these coffee carriers from Casey's General Stores. They don't work real well. So we put in a nice, we asked nicely if they could contact corporate. I'm sure the part-time gals there are going to contact corporate for us.
Sure, don't make that call right away.
To see if we could get better coffee carriers. But who knows? The interesting thing, though, here at WHIW, Coach, is that Harvard Community Radio has its first annual songwriting contest. And this goes for anybody. You don't have to be in the area, but if you love lyrics and you love to write, you can come up with your first annual song. Part of this contest is great. So the deadline for entries, Coach, thanks for asking, is July 8th, 2017. July 14th, the semifinalists are announced. There's going to be 25 of those. July 15th through July 22nd, we'll have the semifinalist competition. Original music is going to be aired for a 2-hour radio show and added to the website for voting for People's Choice. And the website is www.whiwharvard.com, and that's where you can go. And then July 24th, with the finalists, there's going to be 10 finalists announced. And then August 11th, the finalist competition, the announcement of the winner, 8 p.m. at the Stanchion Pub right here in downtown Harvard. For rules and entry form, visit www.whiwharvard.com. Entrance may be aired on the radio show. There is a $10 entry fee, optional critique of $20. So if you want to be a critic, it's only $20 to be a critic.
Can I play?
Sure.
So I can write?
You can write.
Thank you, because I never could write before.
That's right.
Hey, could I use you guys as a sounding board for my entry?
Yeah, sure. There you go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we were earlier talking about pictures of vacations and that type of things. And I'm going to be speaking to a scrapbooking society. And I'm so grateful for that. My wife actually does scrapbooks now so that when we pass on, the kids can go up in the attic and find pictures of our vacations and them when they were younger and that type of thing.
Very nice.
So the cloud is in the attic?
My theme song is going to be, Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be JPEGs.
The famous country hit, the JPEGs.
Don't let them take pictures on
that's right.
iPhones and others.
That's right. Folks, you are listening to Two Bald Guys and a Microphone.
Right here on WHIWLP 101.3 FM in Harvard, Illinois. Do you have some more information on programming?
I'm going to tell you what, there's some good stuff happening here. You can find the world famous Mutt Dog Players in a live radio drama on Harvard Community Radio, WHIW 101.3 FM on Saturday, May 13th. That's this Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Enjoy a performance of Arch Oboler's Ugliest Man in the World. Right? That's good that they're on radio then.
First impressions don't.
Right. Right. You can listen to us on WHIW 101.3 FM or listen to us from the comfort of your own home on the web at www.whiwharvard.com or on your smartphone in the TuneIn app. Search for Harvard Community Radio. Like Mutt Dog Theater on Facebook to get more information, which is great. And then Friday, May 26th is the fourth Fridays at the Starline. Visit WHIW right here from 6 to 9. The fourth Fridays out here, they bring in all sorts of artists, and they have quite a display. You can purchase some of their work and things of that nature. There are people who win prizes for their artwork as well. Henry Stevens will be doing a show live that evening, and we'll be interviewing those attending the show. So stop on in and find out how you can volunteer and or become a member of WHIW. We are a 501c3.
What does that mean?
That means that we are all volunteers and that we need
What?
your
We're not
money.
getting
Yeah, no.
Does that mean we're good for nothing?
We are good for nothing. And we need your help. And you can become a member by going to the website for as little as $30 a year. But those funds help us. If you want to be a sponsor of a show like Northern Illinois Windows, who sponsor us, and Coach, tell us more about Northern Illinois Windows.
Northern Illinois Windows, and I have posted it on the website, on our Facebook page. Cleaning up one pane at a time. Who wants to do windows? Yet who likes to look out dirty windows?
That's right.
So, nobody does windows, but Northern Illinois NIW Services, Northern Illinois Window Services, will come out and do your windows. They're not the cheapest. They'll tell you right now, they're not the lowest price, but they are going to be the best. Your windows are going to be amazing. They do both commercial and residential, and they show up on time. They show up. Their quotes are accurate, and they're friendly, good people.
Oh, they're great people.
Go to our Facebook page, the number 2, the word bald, because you can never be too bald. Facebook.com/2bald, and you will find all of their information right there. So Northern Illinois Window, taking the pain out of window cleaning.
Beautiful. Now, let's pause for the cause.
The cause.
What cause do you got out there? We got the Wild Pigs on Hogs cause.
They're going to be our focus today.
Wild pigs on hogs. I like that. I'm going to use that phrase.
You're riding hogs, right?
Yes, we are. Absolutely.
You should be.
And now this year, the fundraiser is coming up on June 24th.
Yes, sir. June 24th.
At the McHenry Moose Lodge. Now get this. I run into a gentleman, and I use the term loosely, at the Holiday Inn in Gurnee. We talk, we meet. We'd like us to, come together to do something. We meet the second time. He gives me the flyer. It's at the Moose Club in McHenry, which is literally 2 miles from my house.
Right.
Which is going to be a lot of fun getting involved. But the money raised at this fundraiser, where does it go, Al?
All proceeds. The Wild Pigs are not taking anything. We're sending all proceeds to 2 great police organizations that help the families of fallen officers in their time of need.
Awesome.
The Chicago Police Memorial Foundation and the Brotherhood for the Fallen.
That is awesome. And they can go to Facebook and find out more about wild pigs.
Yes, absolutely.
No website at this point, so you know
guys
what?
can always friend me on my Facebook page. It's Al Francis.
Nice. And so if we've got some web designers out there who want to donate
There you
to
go.
a great cause and a great group to get them some internet access outside of Facebook, contact Al.
That would be
That's a good way to
terrific.
do it. Because I'm seeing it says I'm just reading the patches on the cut, and I see president under the vet psycho wild pig.
Yes, I am president of my local chapter. I'm not the national president.
That's it.
How many chapters are there, Al?
We've got approximately 22.
That's a pretty good book right there.
Yes.
When you say the Brotherhood of the Fallen, when a police officer goes down in the line of duty, what do you guys do? What services do you provide?
Okay, what the Brotherhood of the Fallen does is they send at least two officers out in full dress uniform to the funeral of any police officer in the United States or Canada, and they always bring a monetary donation for the family to help them in their direct time of need. And they're a terrific organization. They go out there for showing the respect the officers deserve and to comfort the families also.
Cool. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So if you go out to Facebook and just type in wild pigs, is there a space in there? Is it just one word, wild pigs?
No, I believe there's spaces under wild
Beautiful.
pigs.
It's a wild
We're
pigs.
trying to find it here.
That's good.
Could you maybe pull it up and share it
Sure.
on the page?
And you can also, anybody that wants to know anything more about the June 24th event, you can call me at 773-410-3189. That's my direct number, or shoot me a text message to let me know you're interested, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have.
And let me be clear, Al is a Chicago police officer. So if you have that number and you're driving through Chicago and you happen to get pulled over, I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying.
Badge number. Yeah. No.
Al, the guy went speeding by, and Al, I got to pull this guy over. He's just going too fast. And he turned the lights over. The guy wasn't slowing down. Guy turned a corner, and Al screeches a tire and pulls behind him. The guy turns another corner. Finally, the guy pulls over. Now, Al's a big guy in a uniform. I'm sure you can be pretty impressive. Walked up to the window, and he said, "Excuse me, did you not see my lights and hear my siren?" He said, "Yes, officer, I did." He said, "Could you tell me then, please, why didn't you stop?" He said, "Well, my wife just ran away with the police officer, and I was afraid you were trying to give her back."
Old joke. Good one, though.
Always good. Always good. So, Coach, we've got a little cadence this morning.
Cadence, I'm thinking I want to write a song and get in that contest. So I'm going to preview a little bit of it here, see how it goes. This is called "Are We Having Fun Yet?" Are we having fun yet? The doctor says push just one more time. Your wife said you can't because she's losing her mind. The nurse says, "Girl, do you want to bet?" You look at your wife. Are we having fun yet? The doctor says, "Yes, we're having fun. Looky here, mister, you got a son." The hospital says, "Now pay your debt." You look at your wife. Are we having fun yet? You change your first diaper. Man, it smells. You wake up early morning to baby's yells. You put him on your lap. Now your lap is wet. You look at your wife. Are we having fun yet? Now, baby's suited up for his first day of school. You turn your head away because you feel like a fool. He's got his backpack and all his new stuff, and in the blue jeans, he really looks tough. You wipe your cheek and your fingers get wet. You look at your wife. Are we having fun yet? Well, now he's suited up for his first ball game. He's all set to play, but it's called for rain. "Why can't we play?" He says, "Why, Daddy, why?" You look at your boy as he starts to cry. You tell him, "Son, 'cause the fields are wet." You look at your wife. Are we having fun yet? Well, now he's on a stage in a cap and gown. There's medals on his chest and trophies all around. You wonder why time has to go so fast. You give $1 million to relive the past. You look at your wife. Are we having fun yet? Then you get a phone call in the middle of the night. Your wife takes a call with a look of fright. She covers her mouth as her tears hit her eyes, and her lips kind of quiver as she says, "Surprise, our baby boy has just had a son." You look at your wife. Now we're going to have fun with our baby son. Are we having fun yet?
Nice.
That was kind of unique in my writing life. Up until that point, something would inspire me, and then I would write. Something would inspire me, then I would write. On that day when I wrote that, I wanted to write, but nothing was inspiring me. Until somebody walked by and said, "Are we having fun yet?"
Oh, there you go.
And I said, "All right, that song needs to be written."
Is that is there a beatbox or are there banjos on that song? I'm not sure. Right.
Are we having fun yet?
That's great.
Well, I think it can cross many genres. You could change the music behind it and be
Fast.
important to many different people.
I'd love to hear George Strait turn it into this.
I tell you, right. Don't chase people, be an example. Attract them, work hard, and be yourself. The people who belong in your life will come and find you and stay. Just do your thing. And we're in studio this morning with Al Francis from the CPD. Can I say that? Is that how you say that?
Sure,
Chicago
I'm not here
PD?
representing the Chicago Police Department,
Right.
but you could say.
Well, that's what you do.
I've got to be
That's what you
careful.
do.
I got to be careful what I say about the Chicago Police Department because
We love the Chicago Police
yes, they're
Department.
great. But we have rules and stuff like
I
that. we're not
got you.
supposed to talk to
But it's just what you do.
I'm here to represent the wild pigs as
Right.
as a police officer.
Right.
Yeah, it's just part of who you are.
Right. No, absolutely. That's
And
it.
we
Absolutely.
we are avid supporters of
Yeah.
our local police, and I quite often I will see a police officer, whether it's a county sheriff or just a local police officer. If they're pulled over, I'll actually pull in and get out of my car, and they're always looking for the worst when somebody walks over to the car.
Sure, absolutely.
And I'll walk over and say,
That's a bad thing. People don't walk up to the police car.
Yeah, please.
and I walk over and I say, I just want to take a second and say thank you for what you're doing.
Yes, and you know what? That's very touching when that happens because it doesn't happen.
Right.
So go out there and hug a cop.
Hug
Well,
a
don't hug them. Don't hug them, but
Especially if they're armed, but
yes.
that's
Shake their hand, tell them
Thank you for
thanks.
what they
That's
do.
right.
We love hearing it. We don't hear it a lot.
Buy them a water, get them something, right?
Absolutely.
not a beer. They're
Not
on
a
duty.
beer, yeah, which is great. So, this morning we're talking about how first impressions can sometimes be wrong, and if you're looking at Facebook, you'd never guess that what you do. Right,
Sure.
And who you are. You're sitting there with the cut on, the tattoos. So in your walk, what was it that attracted you to the Wild Pigs or a motorcycle club maybe?
Well, I was actually a correctional officer in the state of California when I met my first wild pig, and he was the president of the local union. I was a prison guard at the time, and he was president of CCPO, a local prison I worked at, Corcoran 2, and he was just a wonderful guy. And I didn't have a Harley out there. I didn't have a motorcycle, but I've ridden my whole life.
Okay.
And they invited me out to ride, and one of his members, his wife, threw me the keys to her Softail, and I was riding with them.
Softail is a motorcycle for those of you who are.
Yes, yes. It's a Harley Davidson motorcycle.
Yeah.
So, I got a great experience, and then when I became a police officer here in Chicago, I met president of the local chapter.
Yeah.
Said, hey, I know you guys from California, and we got along great. We started a chapter on the south side, and it's been history since.
Man, that's cool. So, so as you're doing this, you say you've been riding. What was your first bike?
I had a Honda 750, the big orange tank. It was 76, I believe.
76.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got made fun of by friends and family because they were all Harley riders.
Oh, of course. A big orange tank too, so you stood right out.
Absolutely.
Nice.
You remember those?
Well, yeah. So, but that didn't have the fairing on it.
No.
Right.
No fairing.
Right. So mine was my first was a. Always had the little YZs, running through,
Sure.
and stuff. And my dad had an old Honda back in the day, but I had the 650 Nighthawk. It was it was a blue
I
one.
remember those.
It was a blue one with the silver and
Sure.
red. Oh man.
Those are sharp bikes. We call them Harley wannabes.
Oh yeah. They're snappy and had that thing for years.
I had a Honda 90 trail bike.
Hey, those trail bikes are fun though.
They were-
They're
it wasn't
a
bad.
blast.
That's right.
Wouldn't keep up with you, but it was
That's right. That's right.
170.
Well, the whole advertising campaign of Honda was to overcome the biker image.
Yes.
All their first advertisers were you meet the nicest people on a Honda. It was preppy people with the sweaters and the college crowd because they had trouble selling motorcycles because everyone thought they were only Hell's Angels on motorcycles.
Right.
And so now, I mean, I think as you're part of this chapter, the Wild Pigs, and you know, you give your, I mean, you're a public servant, right? So you're out there and putting your life on the line and doing things that police officers do. You know, what is it in you that says, man, this group, you know, this motorcycle club, we can give back, we can be generous, we can do things.
You know, I think it's great is because we are all active and retired police officers. We all want to give to the community. And I have never met nationwide a better bunch of guys than the guys that I'm in the club with. They are just wonderful. My first national meeting, we just had a blast. And the fellowship and the brotherhood is unbelievable.
Right.
It's terrific. And they're all very, very generous. You know, we're not a 501c. And the reason we're not a 501c is because if you're a 501c, if one of my fellow members was in a time of need, and we've had them, some with illnesses, we couldn't give to that member. So we're a charitable organization. We collect a lot of money. Sometimes we do give it to our own membership. So that's why we're not 501c.
Nice.
But so you all folks all know the Brotherhood of the Fallen, for the Fallen, and the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation are.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So if someone's giving to the Wild Pigs during the fundraiser, and it's earmarked towards the Brotherhood of the Fallen or something, are they able to take a tax donation?
Yes, sir, they are. Yes, sir. We have tax letters from
so-
the organization, so we'll be more than happy to hand them out. Just so you know, the Wild Pigs are not taking any money from this event on June 24th.
And the love of your life said, Wild Pigs with mooses. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, the Moose Lodge is, you know, they're great. They're up there at the McHenry Moose Lodge. Sue Trempy's the bar manager up there. She's actually a retired police officer.
Oh, really?
And yes, she is. And you'd never guess it because she's about 5 feet.
Right.
You know, if I took a couple inches off Sue, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, right. So I mean, what? So you're rolling. You know, how many guys are in your chapter first?
I have a very small chapter, believe it or not. I've only got 4 guys.
4 guys.
Yep.
Okay. So so folks, show up to the Moose. There'll be 4 people. Be good. No, right?
No, we've got in the total club. This is in conjunction with our nationals.
Yeah.
We're having our national meeting here at Gurnee. We're staying up at the Holiday Inn.
Wow.
So I think we on average get about 200 or 100. I'm sorry, 100 members plus their spouses or significant others.
Sure.
So about 200 people we're going to have up here in
Holy
Gurnee, Illinois,
cow.
and at the party. You know.
Yeah.
To be entertained by two
bald guys on a microphone. You guys go to Sturgis or no?
I've been to Sturgis a couple times.
Yeah?
Great time. Great
Not,
time.
but not as a club.
Oh, we go
yeah?
occasionally.
Yeah.
Occasionally, you know, guys usually go individually. We did have we don't have a chapter over there in
Yeah.
Sturgis, so we did an away nationals once and just had a blast. It was-
So in the motorcycle club, what I mean, if you're wearing a cut, right, that means you've been made,
I guess you could say that,
right?
Sure.
Right. I mean, there's
Sure. Well, you've been brought into the club,
Yeah.
brought into the family.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, so most people know motorcycle clubs from, you know, the Sons of Anarchy, right?
Sure,
and,
sure.
and that the rough gang, you know, type of a thing,
Right.
But not all motorcycle clubs are like that, obviously.
No, not at all. And you know, you see some of these bikers with the super long beards, and they're all dirty and oily
Yeah.
and greasy. Some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And very generous. They're
Absolutely.
great people.
Now, if you're tuning in here and you're just catching us here in the 7:00 hour, we're talking about first impressions and how our first impressions are sometimes wrong, if not all the times wrong. And we've got Al Francis here from Wild Pigs, the motorcycle club, which is fantastic. However, this motorcycle club does. I mean, they're charitable. They do great things. What's the strangest story that you can think of as you were in your cut someplace that somebody kind of had that first impression that was wrong?
Oh, you know, I don't really think I can. You put me on the spot there with a strange story. I can just tell you in general, you know, people see the guys in the leathers and stuff like that. You tend to get people, especially older ladies and young children, they kind of step back. Some of the young kids actually like the Harleys when they come to us, you know, because they love motorcycles. But you see it in their eyes. You see it in their demeanor. They tense up.
Yeah.
You know, kind of walk away, walk on the other side of the street. You know, and then they find out, they see us laughing and joking, and so every once in a while we get people coming up to us, and they're like, wow.
Yeah.
We never knew you guys would be so nice.
That is awesome. Now you're riding what now?
I've got a 2009 Ultra Classic.
So that's the full dress, the whole.
Yep,
Yeah.
full dresser, the big one. They call it the old man's bike.
The old man's bike.
Yes.
That's it. So, that ain't nothing wrong with that. That's like riding in a Cadillac.
No, it's comfy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Now, at the fundraiser, are you giving away a motorcycle?
We're giving away a 2017 Harley Davidson Street Glide Special.
What do I have to do to win that?
Buy a ticket. Costs you $100 per ticket. We're only selling a limited amount. Only 630 tickets are being sold, so your odds are good at winning.
Wow.
If you're
It's
not,
one in
if you're not a
630.
rider, you could sell that thing.
Ooh, make some cash.
Oh yeah, make some cash.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully give some to a good charity.
Yeah.
And where's the motorcycle coming from?
Woodstock Harley Davidson. They've been terrific over there.
Oh, man, that's a good shot, too.
Doug is a great guy. Those guys are very police friendly and obviously very biker friendly, but they're wonderful, wonderful people. Very big hearts over there.
Oh, they do a lot. They have a lot of things going on over there, bands and things like that.
They're always supporting good causes, always supporting a lot of police causes. They're wonderful over there.
Yeah.
I just can't say enough about them.
That's it. So, I mean, a lot of us older folk,
He always looks at me when he says
that's
that.
right. Grew up, and what was that movie? With the choppers and
The Wild Ones, was that it? Oh no, you're talking about the one with Peter Fonda.
yeah, that one.
Wow, I can't
Chemical
remember.
brain freeze, right?
Yes,
now, right?
absolutely.
So we grew up thinking, Hell's Angels, everybody that's on a bike is rough. Then there was the Fonz, and had the leather jacket, tough Italian guy, and riding bikes. So
Easy Rider.
There you go.
Easy Rider. Thank you.
I'm just a wealth of knowledge.
That is. So we all grew
Computers
up.
are great.
We all grew up with that. But now it's changed, and a lot of people who are on Harleys are doctors, lawyers.
Sure.
Because it's no longer the bike that you've pieced together.
Right. Although you know what, there's nothing like a good rat bike. Those are great.
Oh, yeah.
man.
Frank Hosaka just checked in right as I said that with Easy Rider. That was not the riddle of the day, Frank.
That's right. That's right.
But you are right.
But the interesting thing, right, is that the bobbers are coming back though.
Oh sure, People love chopping up bikes
Yeah.
and putting them together. I mean, rat bikes are awesome.
Yeah. So as you're rolling through and your pipes are loud, right?
Yes.
Why is it that, and this is going to be a police question,
Yes.
and this can go to anybody who wants to answer it. Why is it that if I'm cruising with my music on real loud in my car, I can get pulled over for disturbance, but if my pipes are loud, I can't?
You can.
Oh, you can?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The noise ordinance isn't just for music.
Oh, really?
And if you have a noise ordinance, well,
Yeah.
a lot of municipalities do. Some don't.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think loud pipes save lives.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Because it's not only. And look for always watch for motorcycles, please, folks.
Always see them.
A few years ago, I was pulling out of a parking lot in McHenry, and I pulled right in front of a motorcycle. Saw him last second. I was able to shift, and so we collided. He hit me on the side and kind of bounced off, and in the end, he was okay. But I went back to that intersection, and I sat there several times. How did I not see this guy?
Sure.
Yeah.
You talk about it all the time, and I try to be extremely careful whenever I'm out there. Yeah. But guys, obviously, as a rider, you've got to be ultra cautious.
Absolutely, especially up here, where we get winters and cold, because the motorists get deprogrammed during the wintertime because they don't see motorcycles out there. So they're not used to seeing them. I think that's one of the things. Plus, we're a smaller target than a motor vehicle, a regular car. So we get deprogrammed in the wintertime. We don't see these bikes, and then all of a sudden we're popping up all over the place, and the drivers aren't used to seeing them.
Yeah.
So please watch
this
out
winter
for
was
motorcycles.
pretty good, so there was bikes out in February.
Yes,
it was
absolutely.
pretty nice,
right?
Yeah. And the interesting thing is, as a bike rider, how there's times where it's very, very peaceful on that bike, and then there's times where it's stressful, right?
Oh yeah. Your stress, my stress, anyways, is usually in the city of Chicago city limits.
Man.
Yeah, everybody's on their phones. Stay off your phones. Don't text and drive. That's one of my pet
and
peeves.
that's another thing, right? Is just the distractions
Yes.
that happen now, and how quickly. I mean, people don't understand. You're in a car, whether you're going 40 or 60, and you cover a lot of ground. As when your eyes go down.
Right.
Not all of us are. Not all of us are as capable as Coach to be doing 6 things while he's driving. I mean, he's popping corn. He's, he's on his computer over here,
Polishing his head.
typing a book. He's polishing his head. He's live streaming the whole thing.
There you go.
But it's true. And I like to ride. I've got a nice street bike, a bicycle, and out here, I like to ride around on that. But now I'm a little wary, and I'm looking for more bike trails because so many people are their faces down in their phone or whatever, and it's tough. I try to stay off my phone as much as I possibly can while I'm in the car. But once you've ridden a bike, once you're part of the biking community, you spot them more often.
Oh, absolutely.
And some of those BMW bikes and whatnot have those pulsating headlights that say, "Hey, here I come." And those things bother me as I'm driving my car.
Oh, sure.
They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Like, hey, there's a bike, which is interesting. But as a motorcycle rider, part of the Wild Pigs,
Yes.
the Japanese bikes, the crotch rockets.
Don't get me started. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. Anybody that rides a crotch rocket, I'm sorry, or a sport bike. I'm sorry.
You're sorry they're writing that?
No, not at all. Not at all. There's a lot of people out there that follow the rules of the road, that ride their bikes responsibly. My problem with the crotch rockets, with a lot of the crotch rockets, is when these kids are doing stunts in traffic and endangering the public.
And now they've got
and myself.
And now they've got the go
riding.
cams stuck to their helmets and whatnot.
Let's preference that's not all sport bike riders. That's just a select few.
Yeah, it's thrill seekers.
First impressions.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
So it's first impressions. It's kind of why we do that, it's interesting, right? Because I've played on those too, and I've been on a Suzuki Katana 650, and back in the '80s, and sitting there next to an IROC Z, and they rev up their engine, and I'm like, you silly, what
Right.
and you're rolling through Main Street, USA, where I grew up, and
Right.
next the light turns green, and you and this IROC go, and next thing you know, you're going 90 and a 40.
Sure, and people on cruisers, Harley Davidsons, Yamahas, Hondas, other cruisers, they do the same
That's
thing.
right.
Everybody. Some people just have a need for speed.
That's
it.
it.
And there's nothing wrong with it, but you have to do it in a proper setting.
So now the big thing, right? One of the big kicks too is these spiders, these Can-Am spiders that are around. What do you know about those? Like them? Dislike them? The 3-wheelers?
Yeah, the rolling lounge chairs.
Yeah, is that what they're called?
Those,
Don't get too relaxed?
yeah. I mean, trikes are for guys that still love to ride.
Yeah.
And they can't be on 2 wheels for the most part.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll never be on one, but I'm getting up there in age.
You never know, right?
Yeah.
Those things are expensive too.
Yeah, they sure are.
Well, the Spider looks like a 3-wheeled sports car.
Yeah.
Right, it sure does. It
Yeah.
sure does.
Or with that, I'm surprised Buzz Shirt doesn't have one of those.
They're actually
colors.
really sharp looking, but
Yeah.
I enjoy.
It's like riding a
2 wheels.
sled.
Right,
Really,
sure,
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's what it feels like. I would
I
guess.
was just out here searching a couple pages. We got a comment from Rich Publicity, our good friend. Just wanted us to mention again, and he's right, we haven't said it yet. Our good friend Tom Sellers is going through a battle with cancer. I've just posted his GoFundMe page out there, so if you got a few extra dollars, Tom and Rachel could really use the support and help.
Absolutely.
As I was going down Tom's page, humor is one of the best healers. And on his page, I saw this. It said, I just sold a lawnmower on Craigslist, and that's the last time my neighbor's going to wake me up on a Saturday morning. So you got to keep that sense of humor going. Hat of the Week Club, if you've got a hat, we'd like to get it to Tom. He's, just to show his support, We're trying to give him a new hat every week. I've got a couple in the car right now I need to drop off by Tom. So if you've got a logo on it, if you want to design a new hat and have someone make it, I can find somebody for you who will embroider anything on anything. So we can design a hat for Tom and get it over to him. So I don't know if Tom's listening this morning, but he's just completed his 4th week on chemo and radiation. Things are going well. Him and his wife Rachel, their spirits are really high, and their belief is really strong. So
God bless you, Tom. We'll be praying for you.
Yeah. He is strong. It's amazing. It's fun to watch his battle because he's strong and he's attacking it with the right attitude.
That's terrific.
It's amazing. So I mean, we're here with Al Francis. Al is part of the Wild Pigs Motorcycle Club. His 9 to 5 is with the Chicago Police Department. So we thank you for your service there.
Thank you, sir.
And we're talking about
9 to 5.
Yeah. I was going to comment on that, but that's okay. We can go 9 to 5.
People. That's what they
9 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Yeah, that's it. We've been talking coming up here next month, June
24th.
June 24th. We've got a thing at the Moose and McHenry.
Yeah, benefit fundraiser for the Brotherhood for the Fallen and the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. 2 great charitable organizations.
You don't need to ride a motorcycle. You do not need to be a police officer.
You don't need to be bald.
No, don't. Well,
but that'll help.
Bald guys
Always
are
helps.
welcome, though.
That's it.
Bald guys will be, let's just say, revered.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
At the event.
That was big.
I
got to Google that.
Just show up. We'll get, being our local community, we'll get this out there as much as we can.
And that would be great. And I would love to get some sponsors, some help with the event. So anything that help out. Once again, my number is 773-410-3189. Text me, call me. I'll answer.
That's it. Looking for sponsors.
But not if you get pulled over in Chicago. Al is
right.
not going to help you with that.
That's it.
Unless
Hey, Kent and Tim, when you go to the event, have you thought about like painting your heads like helmets?
Oh, Michelle says, my girlfriend says bald is handsome. I might have to shave my head.
Hey.
We've got the clippers.
You still got a good flow, though. I mean, you're all right. You're years from that, my friend. You got it going on. And there's, as you're out on the bike, there's nothing better than the wind through your scalp, right? That's it. So you're a rider, right?
I am.
Helmet, full face. What do you do?
We don't have a helmet law in the state of Illinois, so I don't wear one. I wear one only when I get into the states that I have to.
Yeah,
even though I do suggest them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, the studies are out there that show that if you're wearing a helmet, you're more likely to survive a motorcycle crash than if you're not. So.
Right. And the interesting thing is, when I was on my bike, I wouldn't helmet up all the time.
Right.
And my wife always asks, she's like, when you get on your 10-speed, you put on a helmet.
Sure.
And she goes, but when you get on that bike, you don't. And I said, well, I want you to understand one thing. When I'm on the 10-speed, I'm over the front, wheel that's a half an inch wide.
Right.
Right. But on my bike, I know how to lay that thing down and slide, and it's heavier. I'm a little more at peace with this.
Right, but you're going a lot faster too. That's a lot of excuses you're giving your wife.
I'm not the Jimmy John's delivery guy. Yeah, but it's just interesting in my own psyche how you put on a baseball hat or whatever if you don't want to get sunburned on the bald head, and you just ride and you go, and there's nothing. I can only imagine, Ron, that you and your airplane is the only better feeling than riding on a bike.
Yeah. Well, my bike became kind of a widower in the garage after the airplane came, but I still ride.
Yeah. What do you got, Ron?
I've got a Harley.
What kind of Harley you got there?
It's a Dyna Super Glide.
Oh, nice.
I got it.
Very nice.
Basically, when I lived in California, because I did a lot of canyon riding.
Oh, sure.
And
nice.
Down here, though, the bugs have numbers on them. And it's a whole different experience.
Everything's bigger in Texas. I'm sure the bugs are probably fist-sized down there, too.
If you're hungry, just go out for a ride and keep your mouth open.
There you go.
Who threw that baseball?
Yum, yum. Protein.
Who threw that baseball at me? That was a mosquito.
Some of those things are mean.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I had Go ahead.
I'll tell you, having taken a bird in the shoulder, I wear the helmet now.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
full filament.
I've taken a dragonfly in the forehead. It's no fun. It's like a bullet hit you.
Yeah.
I had a 175 Kawasaki, and I had a blue leather jacket, and I liked to zip it about halfway down so the air would pillow it up.
Sure.
Until I hit a swarm of bees one day.
Mm-hmm.
And literally about 20
got hive
bees
in there?
got inside the
Oh, my gosh.
jacket. And it wasn't like they were flying at me, they were flying with me.
With me.
Sure.
Oh,
So
mama.
they didn't die, they just kind of got inside the
they were just
jacket.
hanging out.
I had about 12 stings on my
Oh,
back, and from
ouch.
that point on, I zipped that jacket
Yeah,
all
sure.
the way.
Well, Tim, was that the 175 Bushwhacker trail bike?
It was.
I had one of those. I worked at a Kawasaki dealer. And another case for wearing that helmet, Kent, is that there was a manufacturing defect in the front fenders on those where the welds weren't right on the bracket holding the fender. I was going about 55 miles an hour when the front fender decided it would love the front tire. And they
Hello.
came down and locked that up, and I jumped on the back of the bike and kept it going for a certain bit. But when I fell, I did hit my head on the pavement.
Wow.
And it had to do with, it wasn't the cars, it wasn't anything other than the manufacturing defect
Right, sure.
that caused that. And you never know when something's going to come apart.
That's why you should always check your bike before you go out on the road.
Always.
Right.
Always good once over.
My front
But anyway, just after 7:30 here, we're on WHIW 101.3 FM.
That's
Keep
it.
our FCC guys happy.
look at you go, keeping us on time, on task.
All the way from
Greenville, Texas. Green.
Hey, you know,
Texas,
now I
Texas,
can read the computer or the little clock in the corner. It's great.
Ron just had cataract surgery on both eyes, so he can see clearly now.
Well, that's terrific.
Yeah, the rain is gone.
That's awesome.
But you know, one of the things about life, and it comes back to first impressions, is that surviving on a motorcycle is like surviving a life. That you have to have total situational awareness of what's going on around you. And a first impression is not total situational awareness. It's just seeing one part of the equation. And the old bold bikers are the ones that know what's going on around them and knows what's inside the heads of people that they meet for a small, short period of time, whether they're going to pull out, whether they're not going to pull out. You're watching into the cockpits of cars.
Yeah.
You're watching the front tires, whether they're turned towards you or away from you. Those type of things.
Yep. You know, and here's one thing that that I've learned too, Ron, is that you got a couple of different types of riders, and this is true in anything. Coach, you and I play a lot of basketball, and you have your guys in our basketball, in our morning glory. There are guys there who love to just play and get a good workout and do some networking. And then there's guys that come in, younger guys that, are winning the NBA championship every game that we play in that gym,
Call it testosterone.
Yeah, and there are riders that are very, very much the same way. You've got, you've got probably the wild pigs who just enjoy to ride,
Sure.
right, and enjoy the ride and love being on their bikes and helping people and doing things, and then you've got your adrenaline junkies,
Evel Knievel.
who are out there just, they want to go as fast as they can. They want to see how far they could lay that bike down around a turn. They want to, I've seen people wheeling down public streets when there's,
sure.
when there's traffic.
Right, right, and it's very dangerous.
Oh, and
Yeah, I only do it when there's not traffic.
yeah.
And no one's watching.
Now he used to be the mayor of Tustin, so he probably closed streets so he could do that.
Oh, there you go.
Well, when I was in last year of high school, first year of college, I worked in a motorcycle shop and I had a Kawasaki sponsorship. And so when they would come out with the new motorcycles, we would try those out. And they came out with a Kawasaki Mach 3 500cc triple cylinder bike. And I found out a very important lesson on that Al will attest to. There is no motorcycle that will outrun a Motorola radio.
That's the truth.
That's true. Right. My dad raised us too. Growing up,
Glad he did.
was know your limits, know the bike's limits.
Oh, absolutely.
Stick to your limits.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is important. I think a lot of people nowadays don't do that, right? They're like, hey, I've seen this stunt,
Right.
or,
And if you're out there, if you're thinking about riding and taking up it as a hobby or a lifestyle, try to get some motorcycle lessons. There's great schools out there. They'll teach you exactly what that bike can do and
So
how to
important.
do it. Yes.
so important.
Got some great comments out here. Peter Galt, our good friend, said if it were not for a full face shield helmet, you would not see this pretty mug.
And it is pretty.
He's a good
Now,
looking guy.
he's pretty in more than one way. Pretty ugly and pretty destined to stay that way.
David Neal said, yes, there's a time and place for that, but you have to respect the bike. I agree
Absolutely.
100%. When I got my 175 cow, I was one of my jobs was get the cows in during milking time.
So you're getting the cows in on the cow.
Now this is
So I
this,
took
is,
the
this is
cow.
not in Chicago.
I took the Kawasaki up into the hills. The cows weren't coming in on time. And I went up and I got behind them and I just revved it a little bit. And they got back to the corral just as fast as you could imagine. The problem is they wouldn't give milk when they got there because they were spooked.
I bet Dad was a little upset.
Dad
huh?
was not happy with me. He just got him in but couldn't get it out.
Right.
Yeah, it was utter panic.
That's, hey, ooh.
Rich says,
Yeah, well,
more than
Joni used to ride a Kawasaki 175 also.
And
We met in high school, and she was riding and I was riding.
that's cool.
Michelle Lerold, the love of your life, said, when I get my bike, you can be in back.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that'll ever happen.
Yeah, there you go.
And Michelle, you're not getting a bike, my dear.
Oh,
I prefer you to be on the back, so I know you're safe.
That's it. And they don't make girls' bikes, like they do 10 speeds,
Oh,
right?
no.
There's always the crossbow.
I don't want to get beat up by the female riders out there because there's a lot of them, and they're actually very good riders.
They're great riders,
They
they are.
really.
There are going to be picket signs in the parking lot
Oh
outside
yeah,
the station.
yeah.
I'll tell you that one.
I'm gonna have bikers throwing everything at women.
That's
bikers
right.
throwing
Please-
everything at me.
Please send
She
all your
just got
comments.
Women
to
bikers are
WHIW.
wonderful. They know how to ride.
She just got Al just got a punch from her.
Oh,
on the,
I sure did.
Facebook page.
I'm in trouble when I get home.
That's it.
Rich, like you were getting ready to say there, he's got a great stat here. He says more than 90% of fatal motorcycle accidents happen in the first year of riding.
Yep.
Motorcycle safety classes are worth their weight in gold. They really are. And the state of Illinois, IDOT, they have a great program that's actually free. They
Yeah.
just you go through it and they ask for a donation. And
Here in McHenry County, you can go out to McHenry County College. That's where they run that one.
Right.
You can find information. The Secretary of State will have it. You can go to MCC's website. You can also
Speaking
have
of Secretary of State, Jesse White has agreed to be on our show.
oh, he's a great guy.
Jesse
Great-
is a
big
real guy.
police supporter.
Yeah, and so he's going to be on the show. Dane Eckert, Tina Tilling just checked in. Good morning, guys. The Wonder Lake Water Ski Show team has returned from China. We can't wait to come tell you all about the amazing experience. Dana, we can't wait
neat.
to hear it. Our local ski team was national champions this year.
Again.
And got to go
They are incredible.
compete in China. So it's amazing.
Yeah, it is cool. So we'll get her on. She'll come on and tell us the story, or two. It'll be
Or
good.
3 or 4.
But yeah, so the best thing that we're doing today is talking about first impressions. We're talking a lot about riding bikes because we got Al. Al, you ride with the Wild Pigs Motorcycle Club, which
Yes,
is fantastic. When you guys are working in your chapter, right? You're rolling and riding, and do you go to other? I mean, there's a couple hundred of you throughout the nation.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got 22 chapters throughout the nation.
Yeah, and if you're thinking of joining, you have to be either active
Or retired.
or retired
Police officer.
police officer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, military police don't
count.
Yeah.
Just
sorry,
temporary.
military guys. You guys are awesome.
Hey,
God-
now
God
if you're a
bless you all.
military police that went into the police, you're fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
I got one thing that you're out there riding with a group of your guys,
Yeah.
and you witness some illegal activity where you have to put your other hat on. Has this happened to you in the
It's
past?
never happened to me, thank God. I mean, that's each police officer's individual choice. I think we have a rule in Chicago, anyways. that if I see something happen, I have to take some type of action.
Right.
Yeah.
And that could
Running
be
is
just,
an action.
That could be just like a regular citizen dialing 911.
That's it.
I mean, we don't have to put our lives in jeopardy 24/7. I like to think we're always on duty. We're always on the clock.
Yeah, you
and
should be.
if I see something happen that needs immediate action, I'll probably take it.
Yeah, I mean, Coach and I are doing the same thing, and we usually catch people saying, "Hey, if you want us to be part of, you want us to come and edutain your team, we could do that." So it's cool. So it's 7:44 right now, and what we do now, Al, is we take a break and we talk about isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting?
Things that make you go,
Here's something on the cruise ship that made us go, a lot. There are people who should take more time preparing for a cruise, either by buying the right clothes or getting the body in the right shape. Isn't that interesting? Now, there were, plenty of people in good shape willing to share. There's a lot of skin on the boat.
Sure.
But there were some people that, oh my goodness, please, not a bikini, not again.
Right. Well, you wouldn't
So
like to see
Frank,
me in a Speedo,
Frank,
that's
if you
for
could
sure.
get some trunks instead of a bikini, we'd appreciate that, Frank.
I ordered my 2 ball guys Speedo, but it didn't come in time.
That's it.
I'd hate to see what that looked like there.
That's it. It's our logo on the backside. Of
Okay.
That Speedo.
All right.
There it is. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see the front.
You're right. That's where the microphone is.
Right.
I know.
And the 2 ball guys.
Going back to interesting signs or quotes, this one says, "I don't care how attractive you think you look. If you have an ugly heart, you're ugly." And the opposite
Oh, you
is
know what? I
also
like
true.
that. Yeah, sure.
Hey,
Absolutely.
you ugly. Your mama say you ugly. Ron, anything that's interesting come across your plate in Texas this week?
Yeah, I found out that bulletproof vest, fire escapes, windshield wipers, and laser printers all had something in common.
And what is that?
They were all invented by a woman.
Isn't
Oh,
that
look at that.
interesting? Not
Yeah.
surprising,
Well,
but isn't
thank
that
you to that
interesting?
woman for
That's right.
inventing that bulletproof vest.
That's right. Hey,
Yeah.
A couple are right. That's nice. Which is great. Anything? I imagine a lot of things. Anything you can bring up that you just go, isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting?
Here's a sign, and I got to admit I did it. Lazy people fact number 3546-309-8210. You were too lazy to read that number. I didn't read the number until I read the part that said you're too lazy to read that number. So, isn't that interesting?
I don't. Some of the I was at a festival in Toyota Park. It was called Viva Cinco de Mayo Fest, and interesting how some people dress
Yeah.
to go out to a festival. It looked like a bad day at Walmart.
Oh, yikes! Right.
We just don't want to even go there.
That is. What I found interesting is that in today's world, I do some basketball coaching and working with the Woodstock North Feeder program for the girls, and the interesting thing is first impressions, right? And Coach and I talked a little bit about this on the way in. Is we played a team that we were actually better than this week, and we lost to, but they had a girl in 8th grade who was 6'1".
Okay.
Now, this is a very tall girl, so she could, reach her hands up and almost touch the net. I mean,
Sure.
wasn't the most talented girl, but our girls, that first impression go, oh. Now,
Right.
we got out rebounded, right, throughout the whole game. Even though there was just that one girl that was bigger than ours, right? But the entire game we got out rebounded. It's like we were scared. We had that first impression going, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to rebound. The next game, they had girls who were taller than us, but they didn't have a 6'1"er. Right, and we out rebounded that team.
There you go.
So as we talk about first impressions and sometimes being wrong, is in the world of sports, you had that instance this weekend too, right?
Well, absolutely. But where I want to go with this is when I go into a new group where I'm playing ball with a new group of people, I will do everything left-handed during warm-up. I will shoot left-handed.
Yeah.
I'll dribble left-handed. Somebody throws me a ball, I'll fumble it. I want them going, hey, that guy can't do anything.
Yeah, I'll guard the
There you go.
I'll dribble and
Yeah.
let the ball go. And then when the game starts, the first couple of shots are left-handed, and from that moment on, they guard my left hand.
Sure.
And I'm shooting right-handed, and it's you can
Yeah.
set that first impression. But
He's pretty good with his left hand too.
the thing that you were talking about, we had a coach, and the coach was a pretty boy. In the world of soccer coaching, very few of us actually grew up in America. It's
Right.
just the way it
Right.
is. Most
Yeah,
of them have
sure.
some type of accent, and so because they have some type of accent, they think that they can override and overrule these kids in almost everything.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're mean. They are cruel to these kids. And I'm watching it, and this guy that we played the last game yesterday morning, his kids came in these bright neon green uniforms,
Yeah.
and they were, man, passing the ball spot on. And our little scrappers took them 2-1. And at the end of the day, it was just one of those just real pleasure. It was really nice beating you, you jerk.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
You know, and the way he's talking to the kids afterwards.
Right.
His kids were clearly more talented and had more passing lanes, but our kids had heart, man. They
Sure.
didn't stop, and they met him at the ball every time, and that's one of the things you try to encourage these kids. With my high school girls, I tell them, I want you to find out if she's got a brother and have his phone number by the end of the game. That's how close I
Sure,
want you two to
absolutely,
become.
yeah.
And our kids did it, and the outcome was just amazing.
But you know, and that's the way we are in life too, Ron. I think, and that's why it was very interesting is that first impression. You know, and I just want to tell the girls, you know, take a look at our tallest girl. Is she our best player?
Right.
You know, chances are not always. Sometimes yes, right? But boy, we see this and we create that mental image saying, oh, we don't have a chance.
Right.
And it was just that one girl who was tall. Basically, we were taller than all the other girls, right? But we ended up losing that game by about 7 points because we lost it before we started. So that first impression, I think, Al, right?
Sure.
Is
You
tough.
know what? You got to look yourself in the mirror in the mornings and tell yourself that you're a winner. Heart and determination, and
Yeah.
it goes a long way.
It goes a long way.
Absolutely,
It really does.
You know, if you
Well,
believe you're a winner,
was it the movie Hoosiers where Gene Hackman went in and took his high school kids in for the championship game to a big arena?
Yeah.
oh, absolutely.
Took a tape measure
Hoosiers.
and
Yeah.
measured from the
You're right up.
rim down to the floor. It says,
Yeah.
see, it's just 10 feet,
10 feet.
fellas.
Yeah,
Yep.
sure. Great movie.
And
Hickory.
that's the thing about first impressions. You walk in the arena, you think it's a totally foreign environment.
Absolutely. All of a sudden, that net looks 10 feet taller than it is.
No, you know, and I go back to the time when Michael Jordan was in the NBA playing, and you know, if you were there was a couple guys who knew they could guard him.
Sure.
Everybody else was like, oh crap, I got to guard Michael Jordan, and they beat themselves really before
Oh,
from
absolutely.
that impression. Right?
Sure.
Two people could keep Michael Jordan under 20 points a game. Joe Dumars from Detroit
Yep.
and Dean Smith, his college coach, who made him pass more than he shot.
Greg Elo played pretty
yeah.
well too,
Except for the shot. The
except
shot.
for the shot. That's it.
One way to find out if you are old is to fall down in front of a lot of people. If they laugh, you're still young. If they panic and start running to you, you're getting
You're
old.
But getting back to first impressions, one of the things that it does is that first impressions keep us from finding out what a person's backstory is.
Yeah.
How many times have you gone out or met a couple and you've created an impression about them, but then run into that same couple who are great friends with another couple that are your great friends, and you find out that everything you knew about them was wrong.
Yeah,
I've never had that happen.
not once.
No.
Yeah,
No.
everybody's going. Boy, look at the time.
Well, leaving the show from Greenville, Texas.
That's right.
Well, going back to our Ron, you and myself, I was supposed to be at the Zig Ziglar offices that Monday morning to hear you speak, and I wasn't able to. And through Lori Majors at Zig Ziglar, I was able to get your phone number, and I gave you just a quick call to say hi, and just a quick 2-minute hi. Sorry, Mr. Show, I'd like to get to know you at some point. And 2.5 hours later, we hung up. We've talked pretty much every Wednesday since that time, and sometimes our conversations are 2 or 3 minutes, and sometimes they're 2 or 3 hours. and just that opportunity. I missed that first impression of you speaking at that point, but the friendship we've created because we just asked the right questions has been,
And Al, you know why it was Wednesdays they talk? Because it's Tuesdays with Maury.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Hey, ooh.
Well, thank God for unlimited minutes, or I'd have been watching that clock.
isn't that funny?
But the other side of that equation is sometimes people make very good first impressions and they turn out to be jerks.
Absolutely.
Oh,
It's that
man.
rusty gilded cage.
That's it. Rusty Gilded Cage. Is that Nicolas Cage's brother?
Oh,
Is that
that was bad.
I heard Gilda Radner. And
Oh, you guys are really cool.
Rosanna
South here.
Rosanna Dan?
That's not a one thing, it's a something else. I hate it when I'm singing a song and the artist gets all the words wrong.
I'm telling you, right?
Always. But I sound just like him.
It happens to me quite often.
That's right. I sound just like him
Yeah.
in my car. It's wonderful. Here's another thing that's very, very interesting, right? Is people spend so much time in their car right now that they don't think there's windows.
Right. Well, part of it's because they have their nose in their phones when they're driving.
Telling you. Or their finger in their nose in their phone.
Right.
And so I will wear a Bluetooth, on the side of the window.
Right.
So that if I'm singing, maybe they think that I'm actually.
You're talking to somebody, sure. That's a good idea.
The Bluetooth doesn't even work. I just get into the car and put it in there.
As a,
Oh, you know what? Here, public service announcement. It's the police officer coming out on me. Please, it's a hands-free law in the state of Illinois.
And a lot
Keep
of
those
states
phones
now.
out of your hands.
Iowa just passed it too, I think.
well, I was just reading an article when we talked about that before, that texting and driving has the same result as drinking 4 beers in an hour and
Yes,
driving.
sir. Yes, sir. That's true fact.
And texting and driving, the insurance companies will tell you, has overtaken DUI as the greater number of deaths and fatalities that are happening.
Yeah, a lot
Isn't
of
that interesting?
A lot of stats go. They call it distracted driving,
Yeah.
but it's mostly texting. It's
Well,
mostly
now
being on that phone.
eating and driving falls under
thanks.
that
It's
rule.
distracted driving. Actually,
Distracted
it's actually illegal.
Is it really?
Oh
Yes.
yeah. If you're looking in a rearview mirror and brushing your mustache, or
Easy.
for ladies out
Rider.
there putting on makeup, which you see quite often,
Oh, yeah.
or I've seen guys reading newspapers while they're driving.
Oh,
It's all distracted driving. You can
I
be
mean,
pulled
the only
over and
problem with
ticketed
that
for it.
is who gets a newspaper anymore?
Yeah, right.
But the interesting thing was I was thinking that it's funny you brought that up, Coach. I was thinking that as I stopped and grabbed something to eat real quick between going from work to basketball practice, and being in the 40s, right? Not born in the 40s, Coach. Just being in my 40s or later.
Ouch.
Is
Is that a dig?
On Ron,
is we all know how to drive with our knee.
Sure.
So I'm
Absolutely.
cruising through traffic. I got a drink in my hand. I'm eating fries with the other, and I'm steering with my knee. And I'm like, "How is this not?"
It is.
It is?
illegal. Yes.
Very interesting.
And
That
probably-
falls under distracted driving.
Yeah.
well, there's an old law that says stupid isn't illegal, but what stupid does normally is.
Yes,
All right.
that's right.
Well, I'll tell you, when Bluetooth first came out, it created quite a dilemma. I'd go into a lot of the inner cities, and you used to know when you saw a guy walking down the street talking to himself and waving his arms to go across the street.
Right.
That's right.
But now you don't know who the crazy people are and who are the ones that are just talking on the phone.
That's
There
the
you go.
truth.
There you go. Here's another thing that makes me go, is why is it that if you're on the phone, you have to pace?
Oh, yeah.
Only when it's that phone call.
Right?
Right.
Now it's funny because I'll watch Lucy. I got it, my 8-year-old, right, soon to be 8-year-old. And she's talking on the phone with her brother or her grandparents. She takes that cell phone and she just starts walking around the house.
Right.
And I'm like, I guess I move a lot, and so does the wife. So how isn't that interesting that most people?
Well, that
probably
goes back to the point when they first started with the cell phones, and you couldn't get a good signal throughout your house, and you were walking around trying to maintain a connection.
standing
You know,
by the windows.
And this comes down to the younger generation thing. I find it very interesting. Isn't that interesting that kids these days, we have a 12-year-old at home. My girlfriend my girlfriend's daughter. She does her homework while she's watching YouTube videos.
Amazing.
And I said, Delaney, how can you do that? She goes, I can't do it otherwise.
Yeah, I've got a 20-year-old daughter. She's in college, and she this past month or whatever, she just got, what is that show with Tom Selleck now? The
Blue Bloods.
Blue Bloods.
Great
yeah.
show. Great show.
So she just powered through every season of that, and I'm like, "What's going on?" She goes, "Really, I don't know. It's just kind of there for background noise."
Sure.
And yeah, she goes, as I'm doing my homework or taking my tests or whatever, because a lot of it now is digital, and I'm just like, huh, isn't that interesting?
Right.
The other thing that I find interesting is that mustache is still fantastic. That he's got.
It sure is.
That should be bronzed and put in the. Yeah, that should have its own star.
It's,
I
it's
gotcha.
Velcro.
Yeah, it's amazing.
There's the picture of an old guy says, "When I was your age, I was your age."
Right. There, look at that.
That's what my dad says. Every time you turn on or off a light, that's one less time you'll be able to do it.
Right. Look at that.
Everything's got a life, he says.
Notice, no smoking unless you're on fire.
True.
We are coming into the top of the hour where we want to tell you you've been listening to Two Bald Guys and a Microphone right here on WHIW LP 101.3 FM, Harvard Community Radio. You can find us at www.whiwharvard.com. You can find Two Bald Guys and a Microphone at twobaldguysandamicrophone.com. Spell out everything but the dot.
That's
that little
TWO.
period. TWO, two. You can also on your smart device, if you go download the TuneIn app,
yes,
you can listen live on any smart device anywhere in the world. We have so far, Two Bald Guys has been broadcast in over 72 countries.
Oh wow, that's terrific.
That is
moving at a rapid pace.
Technology. It's
Technology
amazing.
at its finest. Our sponsor, Northern Illinois Windows, helping you clean windows one pane at a time. You want to make sure they're on our website. You can go find out all their information, their phone number, everything about Northern Illinois you ever wanted to know. But if you want to know if they can clean your windows, if they can clean your gutters, if they can do some other service for you, you're going to have to give them a call. And I'm almost to the phone number. There it is,
There it
Northern
is.
Illinois Windows. The phone number wasn't there.
It's someplace.
It is 815. It is 815-385-6646. Area code 815-385-6646. Anywhere McHenry County, Lake County, Northern Cook County, and Southern Wisconsin. Yes, they will cross the cheddar curtain to clean your windows. I actually do a lot of business in the Lake Geneva area. So Northern Illinois Windows, helping you clean up one pane at a time.
Did I hear you say Northern Illinois?
Northern Illinois.
Illinois?
Was there noise?
It must be from Texas or something.
Texas, right?
Nebraska.
Texas. So, and here's the great thing, and thanks for shooting out the spot, for the FCC when we're supposed to say you're listening to 101.3 FM, WHIWLP out of Harvard, Illinois. I never know. It says, around 8 o'clock. So I'm like, do we for 5 minutes just keep doing that to make sure that the FCC heard us? There's not a little green light that goes bing.
Right.
Thank you. But at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock, here we are on Monday. It is May 7th.
May 7th. I have to back up 1 second to the Isn't That Interesting file. We left on our cruise on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock, and we got out of the waters out of Miami, and we're getting in the open water, and we're out there just going along, and the sun goes down, and we're having a great time. And the next morning, I'm up at 5 o'clock, and I go out on the balcony, I look, and we're right next to land. I'm like, wait a second, I didn't think we were supposed to be next to land. I look out, and the boat right next to me said Miami Police on it, and the building said Miami. We're back in Miami. We're like, wait a minute, why are we back in Miami? Well, it was a couple hours later. On the news, it said Carnival sensation returns to Miami for a sick traveler.
Oh.
So some person had a catastrophic health incident, and they decided to turn around and come back to help that person get the care that they needed. So they had to skip one of the days. We were going to Ocho Rios, Jamaica on Monday and Grand Cayman Islands on Tuesday. So they came on when they finally made the announcement, folks, we'll be going to Ocho Rios on Tuesday. Unfortunately, we will not be able to go to the Grand Caymans. And
Right.
Collective sigh, but hey, here's a free drink. And
that always helps.
Everybody was
Liquor 'em
happy.
up, Johnny.
About 3 hours later, the captain comes on again and says, there's a berthing problem. Who knew they called berthing docking? There's a berthing
Right.
problem at the Ocho Rios, and we're not going to be able to go there, so we're canceling Ocho Rios, and we'll be going to the Grand Caymans. And so the whole thing,
Back and forth.
we wound up going to the Grand Caymans, had a beautiful day. I paid way too much money for a hamburger, but it was a lot of fun. But the way they handled it was so professional.
Right.
From the end, isn't that interesting, Phil? I'm
that
sure these things
interesting?
happen from time to time. Why do they always seem to happen to me? But it was. Hey,
No, they don't just happen to you. We took a 3-day cruise when we lived in California down to Mexico, cruised down to Ensenada, was then supposed to go to Catalina Island, back to L.A. So we got the ship leaves port in Ensenada, running all night, you hear the engines going, we wake up in the morning, we look out the window, there's Ensenada. Three of the cruise members had friends that lived in Ensenada, got on the board, partied all night, passed out. We were most of the way to California when they realized they had 3 stowaways that they had to take back to Ensenada.
isn't that?
So-
It was an accident, sir. Total accident.
Yeah.
This was not planned. We'll go ahead and get off in California. We'll take the next ship back. We promise.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Interesting. That's right. That's right.
But Al was talking about the law about hands-free units.
Yes,
When
sir.
when California passed that law, I had one of those old flip phones, and I put it on speakerphone, put the other side up in the visor, and that was my hands-free unit.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
Until my neighbor who worked for Sprint didn't like my first impression. He brought me over a Bluetooth device to start using that. So.
There you go.
That's it. That's it. Oh, fantastic. Folks, we're talking about how our first impression can be wrong, and usually sometimes is. How's that? Usually sometimes is.
Usually sometimes.
Covers all of it.
That's good Iowa English right there.
Right there. Don't you forget it. And you right after 8:00, we always take a time for Deke's fitness and health and fitness tips. And there's a lot to learn from a dog. If you have a dog, in the morning you should stretch like a dog. Right? A dog rolls up from a nap or gets out of bed, and the first thing they do is stretch and get their blood moving, and it helps get rid of some lactic acid. And your body's been in a position lying down usually for most of the evening, and you got to get up and stretch and get the blood flowing to certain places. You'll be surprised at how good you feel when you do that. So every morning or every time you get up from your nap, Coach, stretch like a dog. Get there, and it's amazing the effects it has on your body. And that is Deke's health and fitness tip.
Kind of stretching
That's
it
a good
there.
one.
That's right. Stretch like a dog. Stretch like a dog.
Is that why I'm always in the doghouse?
Oh,
Well, there's more. Never mind. Never mind.
Peter Galt says, have a great week. Catch you next Monday. He's got to go out and get people employed.
Now, I'm just saying, Pete, as you're stepping away, Pete's got a good sense of humor. He is a handsome man. He does have a beautiful beard, and he has a great coffee hour every Friday morning. That if you want to have coffee with Pete over at the Conscious Cup in Crystal Lake, so
They have a different name for it, though. What is the? What does he call it? Is it just coffee with Pete?
coffee with Pete.
Oh, okay.
No rules, just show up, have a great conversation, and a good place to network. But there are no rules. Just go there and have coffee and talk about whatever. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I couldn't make it this last Friday. I had a loan closing, but the Friday before, we were talking about guns, cars, you name it.
I couldn't make it this Friday. I was on a cruise.
Oh, were you on a cruise?
no.
Nice. I didn't
When
know.
was it? Where'd you go?
I didn't know that.
We went to sleep.
Did you get some sun? Looks like you got some sun.
I got a lot of fun.
Yeah, don't adjust your phones. That is Coach in his copper tone. And that is he is
Ken
looking
Cass.
good.
Ken Cass just turned on his Facebook, and I better make sure I say hi to Ken.
Well, you can.
And Bo Bristol, Garage Doors More, our good buddy.
That's it. That's it.
So, well, Kent, you left me with a question. Is there a place called the Unconscious Cup?
Not up in this neck of the woods.
That's every bar you could possibly.
Oh,
There you go.
hey, thank you very little. So, we've got Al Francis from Wild Pigs, and you guys are a motorcycle club that raises a lot of awareness for what?
Well, actually, we don't just have one charity. I mean, every chapter has a different charity.
Sure.
It's always charitable organizations, be it officer with sickness. It's usually
Around officers.
around officers, but
Yeah.
not necessarily so. Some chapters raise for Misericordia and other
Yep.
things. But we're just a charitable bunch of retired and active duty police officers that like to ride together.
That like
you
to
know?
ride,
Yeah.
right? Some good camaraderie and fellowship there, and you guys get involved, I'm sure, with delivering toys at Christmas and stuff like that. You guys get in that ride?
Love Toys for Tots.
Toys for Tots
is great. Yeah.
That's a cool thing, and this year probably wasn't too bad either.
No,
to
it
get
was
out there.
terrific.
Yeah,
It was really good.
you always roll the dice up here, but
I'm telling you.
that is it.
Yeah, he brought the big truck out this morning. He didn't.
Yeah, it was a little. You know what? I guess I was kind of a biker sissy this morning.
Hey, well, it was
I
like
didn't get on that
32
bike.
when
It
you
was
left,
it was
probably, right?
Yeah, it was
It's
a little
freezing.
chilly. It was
That's
a little
it.
chilly.
I was always a fair weather rider. It had to be nice. And,
Well, I like to ride. I like to ride in just about if I can get on the bike and get out there, I do.
Yeah.
I leave my bike up here a lot. At Michelle's house, so gives me a reason to come visit and ride. 'Cause
There
the
you
riding is so much better up here than it is down
go
in
out around
Chicago.
Lake Geneva.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What
It's
a ride!
beautiful.
Yep, that is a fun. We used to do that a lot when I had my bike.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Well, Al, when you guys ride up to a place, either a hamburger spot or a favorite biker hangout, how do you get people past their first impressions of you so that you can spread the message of what it is you guys do and the organization that you're involved with?
That is a great question, and I have found that if you look somebody directly in the eyes and give them a big smile and ask them how they're doing,
And show him your badge.
well, that would help too. But no, a big smile, a nice warm smile, look them in the eyes, ask them how they're doing for the day. That goes miles.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
Nothing beats a smile. You smile at somebody, and it does warm their heart, even though sometimes you get a nasty look or something
That's
like
it.
that.
What is the longest word in the dictionary?
I wouldn't know.
Supercalifragilistic.
No,
Expialidocious.
it's smiles because there's a mile between the S's.
That's dead air.
Wah,
Folks.
wah.
Yeah, that's dead air, folks.
How about those Cubs, huh?
No, they didn't have a good weekend.
No, they
Yeah.
didn't have a good day yesterday. And for my fellow officers in the detail unit, shout out to you guys.
Man,
they
late.
were there till probably about 2:30 in the morning.
Had to be.
Oh, was it a extra inning game?
18 innings.
18, and they
Yes.
won.
A record.
Tell me they
No,
won.
they lost by a
Oh.
run to the Yankees.
To the Yankees, but it was a
Yeah.
record at Wrigley.
It
Longest
was.
game.
It was. My guys made a little overtime, I think, yesterday.
Oh, man.
But I'm sure they would have rather been at home with their loved ones than in bed with their wives.
Because
They
it got
can buy more-
cold.
They can buy more
Yeah.
tickets for the free Harley.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They sure can.
That's right. It got cold.
So Al, to kind of paraphrase your answer to that,
Yeah.
basically, you focus on others as opposed to focusing on looking cool and doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Your focus is not on self, it's on the other person.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's just in life. No matter what you look like, what you're wearing. I mean, if you reach out to other people,
Yeah.
it opens up people's hearts. I believe. I really
Yeah.
do.
So the nickname Deke is because I'm a deacon.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and my kids took one of the I call them collared shirts, right? So you could a lot of people do the black and with the white collar.
Sure.
I had a white shirt and my kids tie-dyed it. So I would show up to church.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I would show up to church in a tie-dye collar.
Very
right?
cool.
And people would look at that and went to the church convention and showed up in my of course, there's a lot of priests who were looking at me and whatnot, but there were a lot of them are like, "Where'd you get that shirt?" I'm like, "Oh, my kids made it for me."
Sure.
They're like, "That is incredible." Well, the next year, guess what we saw?
Tie-dye
There's
shirts.
more tie-dye collars.
That's
right?
awesome.
And somebody selling tie-dye shirts.
Yeah, right?
That's right. So I
Yeah,
mean,
but there was probably another group of people that looked at that let rules
Oh, yeah.
run their life
Oh, sure.
instead of their hearts run their life.
right.
They say, "Oh my God, look what he did."
That's right.
And,
That's
and that
blasphemy.
first impression shut them down.
absolutely.
Kent, do you know what time it is?
It is 8:13.
No, do you know what time it is? It is time for everyone out there listening to share this page and share this video with 10 people.
Absolutely.
Who can be
please.
the first one? Share it with 10 people and let us know you did it.
Share it with your groups.
Share it with your group, share it with your friends, share it with the world. So 10 people right now, click that share button and see who you can get yours out to.
Enjoy it. So I guess I was wrong.
No, you were actually right. It was 8:13.
It's at 8:13. That's the sharing minute.
That's right. The sharing
8:13.
time.
It's the sharing minute.
And I just, we're talking about bikes, and we had Mark Picos on a few weeks back, and Mark is the owner of Cyclecraft. It's a Yamaha dealer in Woodstock.
Okay, great.
Right by the bridge there, and they do something pretty cool over there. Is round 2 of Open Mic, Open Bike. So ride in and listen to tunes from musicians sing. Sign up to play, sign up to sing. Show off your chops, park your bike out front, and show off your skills inside.
Chops and choppers.
Very cool.
Yeah, so Open Mic, Open Bike. It's from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Saturday, May 13th. Saturday, May 13th. I may end up taking, that's the wife's birthday. I may end up taking
Right.
her out for a little date night
you
over
go.
there. To
Something
Open Mic,
cool
Open
Al,
Bike.
that Mark does is every employee in there, if they do 200 hours of community service,
Yep.
they get a bike for the year.
get
Just
to test
everyone,
it
not
out,
just
yeah.
the salesman.
Oh, no kidding.
Every
Yeah.
employee there, they turn in their 200 hours of community service.
Wow, that's
and they get a
great.
bike of their choice for the year.
That's terrific.
This is a guy who's really going out and supporting the community and,
Sure.
and great stuff, great cause. So.
Mark, if you're looking for a good bald guy to work for you, I've already put in my 200 hours.
Right? I don't want to put Doug on the spot. Maybe he should adopt that over at Harley.
That's
Doug,
right.
Doug does a
Woodstock
lot of
Harley.
great things.
Oh, he does. He's got such a huge heart.
Yeah.
He does. He's a wonderful man.
It's and it's fun too. And now they've got Porky's right over there in the parking lot.
Right.
The little barbecue place.
Yep.
It's nice. Yeah, it's going well over there. It's great. But
if you get a chance to stop by Woodstock Harley, give them a plug.
Absolutely.
They have a beautiful flagpole, and they dedicate it to the service members and officers who
Cool.
Died in line of duty and who were out overseas. You can donate some money, and I'm not sure where the donation goes to. I know part of it's for the break, but part of it goes to some type of charitable organization over there.
And a lot of people probably have driven by. Man, stop in. That place is incredible.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
The new
It's a great-
place.
great
I mean, it's
store.
not new anymore. It's been there for a few years now.
Right.
But
Looks like Farm and Fleet.
it was Kmart actually.
Is
That
that
was
what
the
it
old
was?
Oh,
Kmart.
no kidding.
Yeah, it was the old Kmart. Kmart.
Yeah,
for
in
those
fact,
of
now they've carried that tradition forward by saying, "Attention, Harley choppers."
Red, white, and blue light special.
I'll tell you what,
Hey.
that was a good
that was a good.
one. It was.
But the for all the young millennials who are listening to this great show, because we know you're listening, a Kmart used to be a store very similar to Walmart.
Right.
So I was down by Oak Brook Estates, and there was actually right there on 83. I think there was a Kmart still open.
Attention shoppers, there's a blue light special in aisle 13.
Right. Are we still on? Is it that interesting?
Yeah,
or
we
no?
can be, yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking, isn't it interesting how our generation, everything was hands-on. You had to memorize. You had to memorize numbers.
Everything,
You couldn't
yeah.
just go to your phone and pick up a number.
Yeah.
You had to memorize numbers and
Yeah.
get to the rotary phone and actually dial the numbers. Change it. Get up off your butt off that couch and go change that channel on
Yeah.
TV if you want to watch something else.
Remember one of the first memorizations we had to get from a commercial? 2 all beef patty, special sauce,
Oh,
lettuce, cheese, pickles,
absolutely.
onions on a sesame seed bun.
Yeah.
588.
300
Empire.
Well, we're giving a lot of plugs out
Well,
there,
I'll
man.
tell you what.
I hope these guys toss you some sponsorship money or something.
That's it.
Little
Just
stuff
throw
for
it
a
to
gig.
WHIW. That's right. Which is great. So, we're talking about first impressions, and how first impressions can be wrong, right? Not usually,
Absolutely.
but can be wrong. So, here's the thing that I want to talk about, Ron and Coach and Al, is your first impression, right? So whether you're going to a new church, you're doing a charity event, whether you're meeting a new client, whether whether you or whatever, what is your first impression, right? So in the business world, in this industry that Coach and I are in, we talk about branding ourselves, right? So you'll always see Coach looks like a coach. Right, that's who he is. That's what he does. He brands himself as a coach. He's got more swag, Adidas, and soccer wear than I know of anybody in the world.
Oh, you weren't hanging out at the tournament this weekend. I was like the Virgin down there. These guys have the
unbelievable, right? So the interesting thing is we always talk about branding ourselves. How can we make sure that our first impression is the right impression?
You mean the one we project out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think you have to know what you're trying to say. Like you say, I'm a coach. And it took me a long time to realize that. I tried to be a financial planner. I tried to be a plant manager. But I was always coaching. Whenever I would stop coaching to be more focused on my business life would fall apart.
Sure.
Whenever I would start coaching, my business life and all the rest of my life would fall back into place. And so I finally had to realize this is who I am. And if that's who I am, that's who I need people to say that I am. If I show up in a suit and tie, for sometimes when I speak, I'll do that. They'll be like, huh?
Yeah.
Who are you and what have you done
I always
with
think you
Coach?
look weird when you're in a suit.
I feel weird.
I'm just letting you know.
So do I. Absolutely.
Yeah, but so our branding is two bald guys and a microphone. Is he's the coach side of it. I'm always kind of the vesty sweater guy. I mean, khakis, whatever. I don't know what look that is, but that's what. That's
little Mr. Rogers going.
Yeah,
on,
little
right?
Mr. Rogers, right?
Or Eddie Haskell. You can go ahead and Eddie Haskell.
Buddy. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine?
Right. You take a look at Rancher Ron, and if you haven't gone to Rancher Ron's page, right, thegreaterjourney.com.
Thegreaterjourney.com. I did not plan that.com.
Yeah.
Or his Facebook page, /Rancher Ron HH.
You hear about Rancher Ron, so you're thinking, man, here's a hillbilly with a straw out of his mouth down in Texas.
Here I am, Rancher Ron.
Long beard from Duck Dynasty.
That's it, right? Yeah. And this is one of the most handsome men with silver fox hair, right? I mean, the guy has got it put together. He's more of a J.R. Ewing type.
Oh, look at that.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, sure.
So I think he even got made fun of when he first moved down there for his cowboy hats.
Cowboy costume. Yeah. He wanted the cowboy costume.
Right. So you've been instrumental in a lot of people's careers, Ron. How do we make the first right impression to make sure it is what we want it to be?
Well, I always try not to be overimposing when I go to new groups. Like if I'm flying, everyone knows me as Captain Ron.
All right, Captain Ron.
Try to fit in to what's going on. And again, it goes back to what Al was saying. Just focus on others. Ask them about themselves. People like talking about themselves. Don't be threatening. Yeah. I think going into a group to super impress or an arrogance turns a lot of people off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be open. Be accessible.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do. I've changed a lot. I've always, in the past, needed to be the guy at the top. And instead of being king, I'm more of a sage now.
Oh, that is and some parsley, a little bit of pepper, salt. It's always good in a salad and sage.
Well, that's like my great-grandfather in World War I. He was hit with mustard gas and pepper spray, and he came home a seasoned veteran.
Oh,
when that in my house. Wait a minute, I missed that one.
Yeah, you did.
It took me a second. I was
You
like,
know-
I thought he was getting serious about his grandfather there, and he laid
got you on that
He
one.
laid one on me, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I was just thinking that, my house has been hit with mustard gas, but most of the women blame it on the dog.
Oh yeah, it's probably you.
Yeah, you blame it on the dog.
We call it crop dusting in Nebraska.
But
I always tell the girls when I'm here, a duck followed me in the house.
That's right. What was it? Where is that? It must be a mallard.
Right.
but it really comes back to what's your intent.
Yeah. And I think that's important, as the other, not only the intent, Ron, but I think in that first impression, you have to be true to who you are.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
People know. Well, you send off a vibe when you're trying to be fake, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
How many times have we all been there? And I've seen it 100 times when coaches working a room where people aren't even. They're just looking at him and smiling and nodding.
Right. Sure.
And they're not even tied into what he's saying. Right. And
Doesn't stop me though. I keep talking.
no, he keeps going, right? But I mean, that's the truth, though, is that you can sense and you give off this vibration that says, "Hey, I'm being as fake as a $3 bill right now."
Sure.
And in your line of work, I'm sure. Have you been drinking it? Well, no. Hey.
Oh yeah, only two. That's
right.
I've only had
standard
2
line.
martinis.
Yes. Yes.
So the idea too, Ron, I think is that we have to be true to who we are, and if you can't be true to who we are, then your first impression, that's when people know and go, it's probably wrong because I'm trying to be somebody I'm not until you get to know me.
Right.
Do you want to know a great movie? It's a lot of fun to watch. Is Bruce Willis, The Kid.
The Kid.
Oh, never saw that one.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that for
It's
a
an
long time.
amazing movie about exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis and what's behind his arrogance and brashness and everything, and how he transforms.
And I'm sure Bruce is listening to the show. Bruce, feel free to
right.
call in or talk to us. It's a good
Yeah.
old movie because everybody listens to two
Yeah,
bald
it-
guys at a microphone.
Yeah, it's a Disney flick.
Yeah, I remember that. It's an older
I
one.
never
but-
saw it. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, it is pretty good. So the idea, as we're talking about first impressions, is we've got Al. Al, is with Wild Pigs and Al Francis, and if they want to learn more about the Wild Pigs and how they can help out with your cause, how do they do that?
You can either give me a call, 773-410-3189. Shoot me a text. You can shoot me an email, copper7231@yahoo.com. That's my email. Or go to my Facebook page. I thought we had a Wild Pigs Facebook page. I know we have some closed ones for the chapters. I don't know
Yeah.
if we have an open one anymore.
Well, we can.
Think
But
you found
you
one,
can always
didn't
you can always reach out to me.
we
That's
can
for
work on it.
sure.
That's it. That's
And
it.
ladies and gentlemen, he gave you that phone number not if you get in trouble in Chicago.
That's right. That's right.
Just keep that focus unless you're me or Kent.
That's right.
Other than
Well, let's
that,
talk about first impressions. We're pulled over. We see a guy like Al walking up to the car. Well, our impression is well, he singled me out. It's wrong. I wasn't doing it. And this guy's a jerk for pulling me over when, in fact, he might be coming up to save your life.
That's it.
Sure.
To talk to you about something is either a head or the defect in your car, that wheel, you only got one of the four or five lug nuts left on the tire. You don't know why he pulled you over.
Well,
You're absolutely right. A lot of times we will pull over somebody to help them out.
Yeah.
It's not always because
Protect and serve, right?
Michelle's been very active. Michelle Leroux, the love of Al's life. He said, has he mentioned how handsome he looks in his Chicago police motorcycle uniform?
Oh yeah, I know. I didn't
Oh,
tell
look
you
at that.
guys
His
I was on
cheeks
a
are turning
motorcycle,
red.
but-
He's a
Yeah, she got me there.
Speaking of role playing, going right along, the interesting thing, Lucy, she's my soon-to-be 8-year-old. Every time that she sees a police officer with its, the lights, the cherries going, and,
Sure.
pulled somebody over, she ever since she was little, busted, she would yell. So every time she would say that, I'd go, now why do you say that? Maybe that the police officers are here to serve and protect.
Right.
So I said maybe that police officer is really helping that person out, and maybe they were going too fast, disobeying the law and trying to help that person stay safe, right?
Sure.
Because I don't care who you are. I don't care. You want to talk about the wrong first impressions? When you see those lights in your rearview mirror, your heart goes up into your throat. You look down at your speed, no matter. You could be parked on the side, and you know what I'm saying?
I tell you what, even me, if I got red lights
Yeah.
behind me, I'd be
Crap.
you tense up a little bit. And I've been a police officer for a long time,
That's
but
right.
it still gets me too.
That's
I
it.
was coming to Commander in Woodstock, and that night we were having our dining in, and everybody had to get in their dress blues and tennis shoes. And I gave the lecture, no drinking and driving. I don't want to see any police activity
Right.
at all. Now go home, get dressed, be back here at such and such a time. Well, as commander, I got a bunch of things to sign before I can get out the door. I got to get home, get changed, get my wife. As I get out to the edge of town, there's 2 county sheriffs sitting in the parking lot talking, and all right, got to behave, drive by. As I drive by, one of them pulls out behind me, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So I'm obeying the speed limit.
Yep.
About 3 miles later, the lights come on. He pulls me over. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Now he pulls me over. It was Randy Vendegna, a very good friend of mine.
Yeah.
There you go.
Randy comes up. I've coached his kids before, and he goes, "Hey Tim, how's it going?" "Hey Randy, good. How are you?" Good. We talk about the kids for a few seconds. I'm like,
Entirely.
Right, exactly.
yeah. I'm like, Randy, I really got to get, I got to go get my uniform on and get back. He goes, "Well, as soon as you put your sticker on your license plate, I'll let you go." I'm like, what are you talking about? So I get out and I go back and I look, and there's no sticker on the
Right.
license plate. And I'm like, I know I got it. I know I did this, So now I'm tearing through the glove box. You always put your registration right where you know it's going to
You
be,
should,
right?
right, sure.
Until
Not
you
there.
need it.
Right.
Finally, I pull it out, turn it over, and there's the sticker still on the back. I just didn't put it on the license plate. So he has me get out. In the meantime, no fewer than 10 of my soldiers
Go
drove
right by.
and saw me pulled over.
Right.
Talk about a first
Their first impression was
Sure.
that I had done something wrong.
Sure.
And I said, no, as they saw me on the knees behind the car, putting the sticker on with the officer standing there. It was a very
Like,
interesting.
I'm that police officer's spiritual guide, and at that point, I was
There
praying
you
for
go.
him.
Yes.
Yes,
good.
and putting this sticker on my license plate. Yes,
yeah.
you were, sir.
But so that's one of the biggest things too, right? Is that you see that police officer's lights go, and wow, you're like, oh man, everybody does.
And let's flip it over and
Yeah.
go to the opposite side. You see a police officer who's got coffee stains on his shirt and it's unkempt and his shoes aren't shined. What's your first impression of that officer and how he conducts himself?
Right.
What kind of police officer do you think he is?
A little Barney Fife action.
Sure.
right?
I got pulled over in Harvard several years ago. This is not a recurring theme, actually, but I had missed the 45 down to 35 sign. I missed it.
Sure.
But I've always been pretty good at schmoozing, and I figured I'll schmooze this guy. Well, as he's getting out of the car, his belly kind of precedes his feet, and I'm like chuckling a little bit. As he's walking up, I'm looking in the rearview mirror. He's still got donut powder like around his mouth here, and I know better than to say anything because I even look at him. I'm in
Right.
uniform too, and I'm like, here, just give me the ticket. I deserve this one more for what I'm thinking than what I
Sure.
did.
Absolutely.
That is good stuff. And that probably got that right over at Country Donuts here, or was maybe Swiss Made Bakery here in town.
Wow.
Always
these guys love you with all the pleasure.
Well,
That's it.
when my children were little, whenever we drove by a Dunkin' Donuts, they'd go, police station.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And the funny thing is, most police officers are not there for the donuts; they're there for
Coffee. That's
That's
right.
right.
Absolutely.
Good. They love their coffee. That is
Yeah.
it.
The free.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And so as we're talking all morning, we're at 8:30. We're rolling into the back straightaway here on the show.
Wow.
And to keep our FCC friends happy at the top and bottom of the hour, we're talking to you from 101.3 FM WHIWLP out of Harvard. We are two bald guys and a microphone with a rancher and a wild pig.
Well, that's never.
I don't. So
Well, it's just not police officers. Think of many professions where your first impression may not be right.
I'll give you.
absolutely.
Let me give you another story. Right, my dad, Tom Jones, is an amazing pastor. Okay,
Tom Jones.
Tom
huh?
Jones can't carry a tune in the bucket, but he is an amazing. He's a reverend, right? So he's a pastor. And the interesting thing I remember, my dad and I like to work on cars together and do things together when we were young. And my friends would come over, Ron, and he was always Pastor Jones, right? And there was one time my dad and I were working on, my old 79, Regal, and we're in there, and that's when you could get in there with the old Craftsman tools and do things to a car, which you need a computer today, and the wrench slipped. Right, and what does my dad yells out something I can't say on because of the FCC, and all of my friends just stopped breathing and were staring. It was like Jesus himself swore, and he's just a person, right? But they knew him, and pastors, people of that stature they're held above everything else, right? And then they found out he's just a normal guy that day.
I played basketball with a deacon. And the deacon missed a layup one day, and that's when I found out the deacon can use those words as well.
Well, I have a great retort when I mess up like that.
Yeah.
Said, you know what? I wasn't always a Christian.
That's right. That's it. So it's interesting, but yeah, I mean, it not just police officers, but I mean, you take a look at politicians. You take a look at people who are in the public eye, right? How many times are we just floored when a movie star or a famous actor or actress do something totally human, right? All the time, because our we know Tom Selleck is Magnum PI and as this guy on Blue Bloods, and he wouldn't do anything illegal, but maybe he does, right? I don't know.
Not Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, he's a wonderful police reporter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He really
I imagine.
is.
I imagine. I did notice though, Coach, while you were on your cruise, that you were wearing the Tom Selleck line of shirts from Magnum PI.
Oh, look at that. You have the old Hawaiian shirts going
Oh,
on
they
there?
were. I don't know how old they were, but they were going.
They were
that's for
fairly
sure.
new. I've only had one Hawaiian shirt for years, and now I have 4 for.
Hey, you know what, guys? I posted on the live page feed here our event. So
Yeah, awesome.
somebody could click on it. I believe you could click on it. I tried it. It's not working for me, but
That's all right. Some young kid will figure it out for us. It's the way it works. It's definitely the way it works. So, I mean, it's...
Well, that comes back to the next generation. I mean, we're kind of all the same generation.
yeah.
And we look at millennials with first impressions that aren't true either.
we sure do. And I'm very guilty of that.
Well, yeah. I was wondering when that song was going to start. But I will tell you this, that my first impression of millennials is not wrong.
I think we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Well, but there are some of them, and coaching where I do and knowing the kids I do, there are some of them that are absolutely incredible people. But that's for every generation. I mean, every
Sure
generation's
is.
going to have
Our
its.
parents were talking about
Thank you. And I tell
Not
myself...
new math.
Yeah, I tell myself that all the time. I'm like, God, I am saying exactly what my parents were probably saying.
Right, and we're
you know?
listening to news radio in the car, and
Yeah.
I said I'd never do that.
Oh
And I
my
would
God!
go,
Right, my kids get in the car. They're like, Dad, can you turn on FM?
Right.
It is truly it is, and that's and thanks for bringing that up, Ron. I mean, that's the truth, right? And here's the other thing that I think as we're talking about first impressions and how a lot of times they're wrong is where are we getting them from? Are we getting our information from TV? Are we getting our information from the news? Are we getting our information from the right side, the left side? Are we getting it all from Facebook?
Sure.
Where is that ingrained? How do we figure that out?
It's kind of hard because, look at for me, example, I pull over a lot of people for traffic violations and stuff like that.
Shame on you.
They
didn't do it.
He's got a quota. He's got a quota.
You tend to stereotype millennials in one aspect, but but the sad thing is, 99% of the time or 90% of the time,
You're right.
You know, they do feel like they're entitled.
Sure.
You know, why'd you pull me over? You had no right to pull me over. I could be on my cell phone anytime I want. Who gives you the right
It's
to
America.
say I can't be on the cell phone?
Yeah, this is America.
You know,
Well-
where you get an older person, officer, you know what? You're absolutely right. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
You know, well, every once in a while, the millennials surprise you. And they
But on the
they go
inside,
get
we're
right.
thinking, why'd you pull me over for?
Right, sure.
Then,
didn't do it.
then you get a guy like me who starts making it up like, well, I thought that law was only for if you were on the interstate. I'm the
I
justifiable.
thought that was in Chicago
Yeah,
city
At
limits.
city limits, right?
Right.
No, it's the whole state, really.
Now, do you have the like computer over here with all the stuff and
Sure, yeah, of
right?
course we do. Yeah.
How is that okay? Well, you
know,
can do all of that and pull us
It's-
over for.
It's,
no, I'm-
it's still the trash.
but that's the argument you're going to get. I'm
Sure,
fu-
and it does happen.
I'm
I've
fully
had that.
trained to do 18 things while I'm
Right.
driving. You haven't had the
Right.
training I've had.
But it's true. I mean, you guys go through trainings,
Yeah,
driving.
and for you guys out there, even though I don't do it because I can't stand doing it, the whole hands-free law.
Yeah.
Police officers are exempt
Yeah. How
when
about that?
you're on duty.
Well, here's the thing.
So
though,
when
You have
right?
that application.
here's why I know.
Only when you're on duty.
That's kind of like our Senate and healthcare.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to go there. Right?
Here's why I know Al doesn't do it because he's got readers on. He'd have to be like
Oh yeah, right.
looking.
He's got a magnifying windshield,
Yeah,
so it's
right,
a license
that's it.
plate.
Yeah, 40,
Hey, I'd like
42
to
years
put
old.
another first impression to bed here in Al's defense. Al does not have a quota for writing tickets.
No,
He
we
can
don't.
write as many tickets as he wants.
Absolutely.
That's right. Quote unquote, they don't have a quota.
Quota unquota.
But we know that in Illinois, the state is broke and they need to generate a lot of revenue. That's all I'm going to say. Next question, Coach.
Next question is: are you coming, ladies and gentlemen? Are you coming to the fundraiser on the 24th of June?
June 24th.
At the Moose Lodge. If you go to our Facebook page, you can find it. You can click on it. But going, invite your friends. This is a great cause, great people, and good fun.
Yeah.
So let's get out and support these guys.
8:39 here at WHIWLP 101.3, and it's time for Caught in the
Caught in the
Act.
Act. Cool people doing-
cool people doing
Cool
things. And Ron, what do you have? Cool people doing cool things.
I came up dry this week because I've been housebound and I've just gotten a free pass to go out in the yard again in the pasture, and
Nice.
so I really
And
haven't.
the cows
been
are
walking.
happy you're
Took the
back.
shot collar off. That's good.
Yeah.
That is good.
Finally, we can eat. Thank you, Rancher Ron.
That's it.
Could be the person that came and changed the battery in my ankle bracelet.
House arrest. It means house arrest. Coach, cool people doing cool
Oh my
things.
gosh, I just got to go back to this cruise ship. Peter, our waiter at the night, I have a dairy allergy, and so he made absolute positive that there was no dairy anywhere close to any of my food. This guy took care of each and every one of us. These people on the ship. So Peter, when's your day off? We saw you every day. He goes, day off? They work 12 to 14 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week. And there's 920 of them who follow this same protocol. They're all trained in every aspect of danger and emergency, but yet they are so kind and giving. If you're walking down the hall and they're in a hurry, but they see you, they stop on a dime to let you pass. They did these little towel animals every day. When they made your bed, you had a different little towel animal on your bed. Cool people doing cool things. The people who work at these cruise lines are absolutely incredibly cool people doing cool things.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts, which is, that is cool. And those boats are huge.
Oh
Huge,
yeah,
huge.
They're monsters.
So I think the cool thing is how they get them things parked in.
Averaged over 13,000 steps a day
Is that right?
on the boat.
Wow.
It's like,
Yeah. That's pretty good.
well, another cool people doing cool things was how the women, Christina and my wife April, allowed Frank and I to win the overall competition of Quirkle, Quicks, and mini golf on the cruise ship. Frank and I absolutely destroyed them.
Nice. Nice.
They may disagree, but I'm on the air.
There you
Right.
go. And it's good to destroy. Good to
Destroy.
Anything you caught anybody cool?
I actually did. Yesterday I was at that festival again. It was Viva Cinco de Mayo Fest, so there was a big Hispanic population, and there was a band. I wish I could remember the name of the band because they were really good. They got word from a lady out in the crowd that it was her husband's birthday. They were an older couple, about in our generation. And
He looked at me when he said that.
the band actually brought the guy up and took pictures with him, and they sang him happy birthday in Spanish up there, and I thought that was a really cool thing.
That is cool.
And it was his favorite band, and they went out of their way to help him out on his birthday.
That is cool.
When the birthdays in the cruise ship, there are 60 different nationalities of
back
people
to the
serving
cruise ship.
in there. And when they sang the happy anniversary, happy birthday song, you had 60 different accents attempting to sing in English.
Sure.
To you.
Wow.
Incredibly funny.
Wow. So my cool.
You're really cool. You've got something really cool.
This is
bated breath. I've been waiting with bated
This
breath.
is a shout out to Kelly Chisel. Callistus Chisel is a good friend. He's a classmate, a high school classmate of my wife. Just set the Minnesota state record for bench press.
Oh, that is cool. That's very cool.
Take a guess at what this guy pushed up.
What state was it?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Minnesota, eh?
Those guys are pretty strong up there, pushing the plows.
87 muskies.
I'm guessing 527.
Close.
528.
541 point something pounds.
Wow.
Wow, that's
Bench press.
heavy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have trouble pushing myself out the easy chair sometimes.
I actually have a friend. He's a police officer. He used to compete with heavyweights, and he won the European bench press championship.
So-
at one time in his career.
Here's a guy, 47 years old.
Yeah.
46,
It's amazing.
47 years old, pushing up 541 pounds
Yeah, that's crazy.
from the bench.
God
right?
bless him.
And that's amazing. And
Yeah.
I mean, you look at him; he's a big dude. I mean,
Sure.
he's built right. You know that he's strong. He's just a big cat, and he's got big boys who are. One's playing college football right now. One's a senior in high school. He'll be playing college football too. Nicest, gentlest guy that you ever saw. But that's a lot. I mean, a bench press. I mean, it's
Yeah.
one thing to squat.
Right.
Right? He also squatted like 250 kilograms or something. I don't know how much that is, but
I don't know. We're not in Europe.
right.
Times 2.2 pounds.
Yeah,
But
I
that's 13.87 muskies.
Yeah, 13.87 muskies. That's pretty good.
I'm sure that's how he.
Well, Al's friend in Germany trained by stacking smart cars on shelves.
That's
right.
it, right?
You guys got a post up here from Rich Publicity.
Yeah.
He says, "Cool people doing cool things. We got them right here, down in the Wonder Lake ski
Yeah.
competition team."
Yeah, it is amazing what they do. They've got skiers from all
China.
ages, from their 60s to their teens, even preteens,
Preteens, yeah.
and then
Who do you think's on top of that pyramid?
That isn't me. And they'll do. I mean, it goes four stories high. That pyramid. I mean, it's
Wow.
amazing. Yeah, they were just over in China. Do at a water skiing event.
That's amazing.
And they do it right here in the little town of Wonder Lake, and in the little lake there. It's amazing.
He also
it's good.
posted cool people doing cool things. A 10-year-old girl fought off an attacking alligator because she knew what to do. She pried its mouth open to pull her leg free.
Wow, I didn't think you could pry an alligator's mouth.
Boy, that's a lot. That's
When we got back off the cruise, we went to like an alligator show.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy's like putting his hand in the alligator's
And
mouth.
snapping.
and
Yeah.
and getting it out just in time. I'm like, I do that with my wife. She gets me every time. It's like, ow.
that's it. Oh, hey. And
Shot
I would
fired across
yeah.
the bow.
Remember, April, you loved him first today. I wanted to let you know that.
When Tim told me that story, I thought it was a croc.
No, their teeth come up from the bottom. I finally learned how to tell the difference between a crocodile and an alligator. Alligator's teeth, you only see the exposed teeth from the top jaw. The crocodile, you see exposed teeth from bottom and top. So now you know what's eating you.
Oh,
I thought it was just based on a label on your boots.
Oh,
And they're coming rapidly now. Rapid fire puns.
that's it. It's time for pun speed round. Here, 101.3 FM, WHIW.
LP 101.3 FM.
It is. It's a great day. It's so fun to have you in here, Al. It's,
thank you. I'm having a blast.
I love what you're doing. Awareness for fallen, comrades and police officers. I love that. I can't thank you enough for your service, putting your life on the line every day that you go to work. It's amazing.
Oh, and you know what? On that subject, this month is Police Officer Memorial Month.
Wow.
It is. So please thank an officer when you see
Yeah, absolutely. And the amazing thing is, as we talk about, you said you're from the South Side.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, they call that Chirac down there, right?
I mean, unfortunately,
so-
that's a bad.
Well, and we're talking about first impressions again. Now that it's,
Sure.
again, it's a neighborhood basically. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not the entire
Right.
South
It's
side
not
of
the entire
Chicago.
South side. It's not the entire city of Chicago. It's pockets. Unfortunately, it's pockets of neighborhoods that are drug infested, and
Yeah.
and the Chicago police are trying to do their best to clean that stuff up. They're really boys and girls in blue are really working their butts off trying to do their job and protect the neighborhoods out there.
They are.
I really got to hand it to my buddies who are on the beats in the
Yep.
districts, because I don't do
Right.
that anymore. I'm in a different spot with my career, and they're so caring
Yeah.
about the communities that they work in. And a lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people don't see that.
Well, the interesting thing is, as we talk about, we learn a lot from the TV shows. Right now, there's a TV show called APB. Have you seen this one?
Yeah.
Right. So it's 13. But what it's all make believe. But the interesting thing is what I enjoy about that show, because there's always some reality and fiction, right?
Sure.
And I think they're doing a great job of helping people understand how our police departments actually work with the citizens of their districts.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
And so the premise of this is this multi-billionaire who's got all this fancy technology, but the interesting thing is the lessons that he's learning on humans.
Right.
On you can't just walk in and start slapping cuffs on everybody. They're showing him, and this is kind of the neat thing. And I don't know how to say this, but how everything works together in the jungle.
Right.
Sure.
Gotcha.
how we get along with these people, and how they get along with us, and what it's just very interesting.
Right. I mean, it's amazing when I was a young beat copper, it's amazing what getting out of your squad car and maybe just shooting some hoops, or challenging a kid to a foot race, will do for your relationship with the community that you work in.
And you wish you saw more posts like that rather than
we had a great one in the detail section. It was on WGN. Somebody was filming one of our officers playing catch with a kid.
Really?
Yeah. During one of the ball games.
Awesome.
He was on his post, and the kid just happened to toss him the ball, and it was on Waveland Avenue, and the
Fantastic.
they ended up having a little game of catch. And he was catching that ball barehanded. The officer
Nice.
was, yeah.
And somebody out there will complain, "Oh, that officer's not doing his job. He's
it's
playing
funny
catch."
if you look on that WGN feed, there are comments like that.
Yeah, and it's like, really?
He actually
He
was
is doing his job.
He actually was exactly where he was supposed to be at the time, just sitting there observing the crowds. He was blocking a street off.
Yeah.
His car was parked right in the middle of the street, and the kid. What are you going to do? Say no to a kid who wants to
That's it.
toss you a ball?
That's
you
it.
know?
A couple of weeks ago, I was speaking at the McHenry Chamber Scramble, and one issue did come back across. I'd made fun of one guy's height, Patrick Noon, a good friend of mine. He's an IRS tax guy, helps you out with all kinds of IRS tax problems.
Right.
You know anybody with IRS problems, Patrick's the guy to call.
Another
well,
problem.
he's very vertically challenged. And so I made a comment, stand on the chair so we can see you, and there was some laughter. Somebody complained about that.
Sure,
And when I talked to Patrick later, I said, Patrick, I got to tell you, somebody complained what he said. He says, you keep doing it.
Right.
That got me. So he said, I think I got probably 4 or 5 more people said something to me because you pointed me out that way. And it's just people's impressions.
First impression.
When you're on the microphone, I mean, there's always people, you're going to say something that somebody's not going to like.
Oh, I'm not.
Absolutely.
There's no intent.
Women bikers are going to be
Oh, yeah.
shooting down my door. I'm going to be getting
You
beat up.
better shave that hair off and
I'm
and
telling
go
you.
bald so they
Yeah,
can't
I'm gonna
recognize
have
you.
to disguise myself.
That's it.
Well, Al, what's your department's policy on ride-alongs?
They're allowed. They have to go through a chain. Somebody has to go through a background investigation before
Yeah.
we can get you in a squad car. You're required to wear a bulletproof vest, but that you have to go through the department. You know, that's out of each district's hands.
Yep.
It has to go. all
Do,
the way-
do, do
all
you
the
think
way.
those are helpful?
I really do at times. It depends. It depends
depends
on the
what's going
officer.
on, right?
It depends on the officer and what he's doing, and it depends on what's going on at night. You know, it's double-sided. Double-sided. I think.
I had several ride-alongs. My hands were behind my back, and I was in the back
Yeah, I was
seat.
gonna say
Oh, yeah.
you should apply to do that in the front seat of the car. Ken.
Right.
Yes,
That's when I had the right to remain silent. I just didn't have the ability.
That's right. I couldn't keep my mouth shut.
I want to give a
But,
shout out to Vicky Summers because she's a female writer, and she's gonna give me a couple, smack me around when she sees me if I don't.
Vicky, we appreciate.
She's an awesome writer.
yeah.
Awesome writer.
Yeah, and keep riding and stay safe while you're out there, which is the goal for everybody. So the big event's coming up on June 24th.
Yes, sir.
June 24th at the Moose in McHenry.
At 4 p.m. We're gonna kick it off.
McHenry, Johnsburg, right up there, whatever it is. It's on your left if you're heading north. It's on your right if you're heading south.
If you're heading west, you're driving right into the parking lot.
Yeah, right
There you
into
go.
it. That's it. So if they want more, if they have questions about wild pigs, if we have some fellow officers, either retired or active duty, and you want to become part of the wild pigs,
Yeah.
If you want to sponsor the event,
Oh, yeah, please call me 773-410-3189.
773-410-3189. 3189. Unless you're in trouble in Chicago.
that's right.
Right. Or you can
Right.
also reach my email, copper like the pipe, COPPER 7231 at yahoo.com.
Copper7231 at yahoo.com.
Copper7231 at yahoo.com.
That is telling that's an email and around.
That's right. And we have the Harley raffle tickets for sale.
Yes.
$100 a piece, only 630 being sold. You know, we need to get those all sold so we can get that bike out there and get it to someone
That's it.
deserving
And
winner.
and who is emceeing the event for the night?
That would be two bald guys
And
and a microphone.
He did it well. Good job.
Yes.
We'll be out
Hey,
there.
those street glides are a wonderful bike.
Yeah, they sure are, aren't they?
I'm going to give a shout out, kind of a self-serving shout out, not that I've ever done that before.
Oh, no, never. Never.
But this Thursday, the Boy Scouts of America,
Yeah.
I was put in for an award several months ago by a good friend of mine, Colonel George Braun, put me in for the Legacy of Service Award with the Boy Scouts of America. And after all the smoke cleared, they decided to give that award. They're actually giving out two of them this year on May 11th, this Thursday morning at the Bull Valley Country Club. Come join us for breakfast at 7:30. Just let us know you're coming, but receiving a Legacy of Service Award. And so just honored
That's
to be recognized by the Boy Scouts of America.
That's terrific.
A live studio audience loved that too. It is going to be a great time. There's golfing afterwards, but if you cannot golf, you can at least have breakfast, and the breakfast is going to be delicious. Delicious.
Delicious.
I'm a breakfast guy, though. I can eat breakfast any time of day.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I'm easy. Bacon.
Right after the show.
Yeah, we're good there. So here it is, 8:55. Coach, we're going to ask Ron if he's got anything going on this week. Ron, other than your hard work on the ranch, anything going on?
A couple of things. In fact, right after the show, I've got a fellow from church coming over who deals with a lot of other people's problems. Had a particularly busy week, so we're going to come out over and do a little gunpowder therapy and let him decompress.
There you go.
So
That is
they'll be
good.
doing that, and we'll probably be out flying on Wednesday evening and spending more time with the grandkids.
And you know what? I didn't say this, cool people doing cool things, but Rancher Ron is volunteering his time to teach aviation to an aviation club, is it, Ron? Or
Well, yeah, the EAA Young Eagles. Couple times a year, we hold an event where we invite all kids from the community between ages of 6 and 18, or 8 and 18, to come out and get a free ride in an airplane.
Oh, that's terrific.
And
Yeah.
we expose them to aviation. We teach them a little bit about the dynamics of flight for about 8 to 10 minutes, about what makes a plane lift in the air and that. And then we take them up for about a 8 to 10 minute flight. And we had 95 kids show up a couple Saturdays ago,
Yeah.
and about 8 pilots. Fantastic event, but to expand kids' horizons, to say, hey, there's more out there than just homework and school lunches.
That's
And
it.
it's a great thing, and the excitement, and the parents also are just fantastic about that.
And, the interesting thing is when they're up there, Ron's like, don't make me pull this thing over.
No, I walk up to them and I say, now how many of you kids, this is your first time in a small airplane? They all raise their hand. I says, me too, but I read the book. It looks pretty easy.
That's it. Coach,
Mommy.
Coach, outside of Thursday morning, anything going on here?
Just back to the coaching field. So my girls
Always
at Wilmot
good.
High School be getting back and bringing my 10 out there and making them all jealous.
Beautiful. And, yeah,
So
great.
just a lot going on business wise. Just every day is normal.
That's it. Folks, it's 8:58. We've got to jump out of here now because we've got Dave in the morning coming in right behind us at 9 o'clock. We want to thank Al Francis for being here with Wild Pigs.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you so
appreciate
much.
You guys having me here.
Anytime that you're in the area on a Monday morning, swing on in. We'll, would love to have you
I just
on
might
the
do
radio.
that. I'm sneaky. I'll
With that motorcycle,
That's it.
Yeah, you're
That's
welcome.
it. Rancher Ron, as always, find out about Rancher Ron at greaterjourney.com. I did not plan that.com. Any other way they can get a hold of you, Rancher Ron?
Facebook.com/Rancher Ron HH.
Great stuff, and I can't impress enough people. Go out there and get that. Coach, it's that time.
Oh, it's time to get off the bench.
Get back in the game.
We are two bald guys and a microphone, and we do approve this message. God bless. Travel safe.
Thank you so much, guys.